website, and bulletin boards outside of the municipal building and has remained continuously posted. In addition, a copy of the revised annual notice is and has been available to the public and is on file in the office of our township clerk. Please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, will you please do the roll call?
Deputy Mayor Anderson. Here. Councilor Birmingham absent. Councilor Donato.
Here.
Councilor Harrison absent. Councilor Toller. Okay. Councilor Harrison present. Thank you. Councilor Toller.
Good evening, President.
Good evening. Councilor Williams absent. Mayor Baskerville.
Present. I'd like to make a motion that we move into the executive session portion of our meeting, please. The purpose of the executive session meeting is personnel matters. Specifically, we will be interviewing individuals for the position of township attorney. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Abstentions. At this point in time, if there are any individuals in the room who are not directly related to the interviewing process, please remove yourselves, and we look forward to returning shortly after 7 p.m. this evening. Good evening, and thank you for joining us for the April 7, 2026 meeting, second floor conference room. We have a packed agenda today. I'm really excited to announce that we are going to have a budget presentation. Before we move on to that, Madam Clerk, has everybody received a copy of the minutes of October 21st, 2025, November 12th, 2025, and November 25th, 2025? Yes. I second that. All in favor of accepting the minutes as presented, please? Any opposed? Any abstention? Okay, that's terrific. Thank you. And so at this point in time, I'm going to ask Manager Mark, if you would please come forward. And we're going to have a presentation of the municipal budget 2026 pursuant to N.J.S.A 40A:4-5.
Sorry. Just a moment. Almost done. Sorry guys, just give me like 1 minute and we'll be fine. I saw it.
Oh, thank you.
It should be popping up now. One more time. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's super slow. Sorry, guys, just 1 second. Come on.
Very shortly, the manager will present about 15 to 20 minute presentation in anticipation of the budget that we are going to vote on this evening. It also has some reorganization of some municipal departments, which I believe he's going to share with us this evening as part of this. And so this is going to be very exciting for all of us. Many of us here are just hearing about these the first time. So very shortly, we're going to have that discussion. I don't think that there's going to be an opportunity for the public to discuss this at this point in time.
Correct. The public hearing will be May 5th.
The public hearing will be May 5th. But yeah, we are excited and glad that you're here so that we can all receive this at the same point in time.
So good evening, everybody. My name is Stephen Marks. I'm the town manager. Just I'll get started while we're waiting for the presentation to come up. So at the last council meeting, you heard from Joe Monzo, who's the town's interim chief financial officer. I actually have a copy of his presentation that he made at the last meeting. Members of the council were given a copy of it. If you need additional copies, I could also put out copies for members of the general public. This year's budget really started about 9 months ago with the state of New Jersey, Department of the Treasury came out with the premium increases for the state health benefits. So the township's budget is approximately $107 million. Employee health benefits is about $10 million of that $100 million budget. Oh, thank you very much. So last year, July 9th, 2025, New Jersey Department of Treasury put out their premiums for 2026 plan year for employee health benefits. Montclair, like many municipalities and counties across the state of New Jersey, belong to what's called the State Health Benefits Plan for Employee Health Benefits. The state of New Jersey Department of Treasury came out with a 36.5% increase in premiums for employee health benefits, which would be a major driver on approximately $10 million employee health benefits plan. That would be an additional $3.5 million, give or take, effect on this year's budget, the 2026 budget. That single line item, if that was just passed along to the taxpayers, would equate to a 6.39% tax increase just for that one single line item. That was obviously politically a non-starter, would not have the support of the mayor and council. We actually shopped for a more cost-effective plan. Actually, let me rewind for 1 second before I go on. The actuaries in the state of New Jersey were actually predicting the 36.5% was just for 2026. The actuaries in the state of New Jersey were predicting further plan increases for the state health benefits plan of 50% and 60% for 2027 and 2028. So what's happened, many actuaries, many people involved in the state of New Jersey called the state health benefits plan as going into a quote unquote death spiral. Anybody who could get out of the state health benefits plan did, and anybody could not. The highest risk claimants or municipalities and counties were stuck in the state health benefits plan and faced those premium increases. So our insurance broker shopped around for other comparable. We have 7 bargaining units, many municipal labor unions, public employees covered by the health benefits. They are negotiated. You have to, by law, provide equal to or better. Then you can't just impose lesser than health insurance, you have to provide equal to or better coverage. So we shopped around for a comparable health benefit plan. We found an Aetna fully insured plan. There's only about, because the state health benefits plan really doesn't give you your plan history or your coverage. It's really in a black box, and you're flying blind with it as far as knowing much about the high claimants or your employee costs. So for this year, there's only about a $300,000 savings between the Aetna fully insured plan and the state health benefits plan, but we are anticipating by moving to outside the state health benefits plan, we are avoiding further, we know that the rate increases in 27 and 28 are going to be 50 and 60% respectively. So we're avoiding those additional costs. That's still a major driver of this year's budget is $3.5 million increase, which is significant. So we could go back. So it's not a surprise to anybody in the room, I'm sure, that Montclair has very high taxes. In fact, recent articles in the Star Ledger ranks Montclair as having the 13th highest property tax residential property tax bill in the state of New Jersey. Just for the municipal portion, Montclair did a little bit better, but ranked about 22nd among 565 municipalities in the state of New Jersey in terms of having a average residential property tax bill. So cost effectiveness, affordability is at the top of many people's minds. Next. So this presentation is on our website. I don't expect anybody to read the numbers there. This is how the average tax dollar is divided. The largest portion of the pie goes to the schools. It's approximately 57.42% of our property taxes go for support of the schools. About 15.6% of our property tax dollars go to the county. About, I think it's 24, less than 25 cents out of every property tax dollar goes to the municipality for municipal operations and support. And the library gets about $3.8 million, about 3% of our property tax bill. So the vast majority, even though the town collects, the tax collector for the municipality collects everybody's taxes, it gets apportioned among the local governments, the schools, the county, the town, and the library. Next. So this is just the news release from the State Department of the Treasury that I mentioned before. Next. So in light of the increase in the state health benefits plan and employee health benefits, in September, I wrote a memo to all the department heads enacting a temporary hiring freeze for non-essential positions. By statute, all of the department heads are supposed to present their budget requests to the town in November. And I asked each department head to provide 3 scenarios for the November budget presentations. One would be a normal operating request, anticipating adjustments to their budget, usually upward. Second, a budget that was frozen at 2025 levels. And third would be a budget with a 5% reduction from 2025 levels. Next. So we conducted the departmental budget hearings in November. Every department was given an opportunity to present. Next. So basically, this is what the municipal organization looks like with the various departments. These are the business units of the municipality. Really doesn't relate to the size of their budgets, but this is basically how the municipality is organized.
I didn't hear that.
So New Jersey highly regulates counties and municipalities in terms of budget review. Every county, municipality, and local authority has to submit their budget to the state of New Jersey, specifically Department of Community Affairs, Division of Local Government Services, for their respective review and approval. The state of New Jersey also enacted a 2% cap on the municipal tax levy and a 2.5% cap on municipal spending. So those are the guidelines that we have to live by. Next. There are several budget documents that we have to prepare in advance of the municipal budget. One is the annual debt statement that has to be prepared and submitted to the state by the end of the fiscal, by the end of the calendar year. Next. The next is the annual financial statement, which is due, I think, by March 10th of every year, which basically goes over your cash position, how you finished the previous budget year. We had submitted ours by the statutory deadline. Next. I've only been here about a year. And when I first started, I heard a lot of residents and council people ask about what the right size of the fire department would be. I don't know. I don't have a background in fire science or fire department. I do have a background in public administration. So we commissioned a study on the fire department about how basically asking what the right size of the department is. And this study was commissioned before the state of New Jersey came out with their premium increases. So this was budget neutral, but it was started, the endeavor was started before the current budget situation. So what is the right size of the department and what is the right size of the command structure, the table of organization? That study was done in conjunction with the fire department. It was provided a final draft, was sent to the mayor and council, I think about January 15th. Because of the findings in that study, we've enacted some, which people may have heard about, some changes to the fire department. The fire department 10 years ago was at about 87 firefighters. Last year, the fire department was at about 70 firefighters. We had budgeted, the town had budgeted for 77, but we were holding back and hiring those additional 7 firefighters pending the outcome of this study. One of the things that the study said that we could get by was not free, it was not recommended, it's not optimal, but basically for budgetary and fiscal reasons, we could get by with the department of 70 if we took certain measures. So some of those measures were exploring mutual aid or automatic aid with neighboring jurisdictions, as well as creating or recreating an auxiliary program. But back in early February, as a cost-saving measure, I issued an administrative directive reducing the minimum daily staffing from 16 firefighters per day to 14 firefighters per day, and cap the table of organization at 70 firefighters, which should have a savings of between $450,000 and about $1.4 million. The reason why it's a broad range is a lot of it is based on overtime. If you have 2 firefighters, new firefighters who are on step 1 working the overtime shifts, it would be the cost savings by making those changes would be close to $450,000 versus 2 senior firefighters who are at the top step who potentially be working overtime. That would have a much higher cost. Next. So this was a directive that was issued to the fire department, basically being conscious of the fiscal constraints that the town was facing, doing everything that I just mentioned. Next. We looked for the 2026 budget. We looked at patterns in revenues, as well as appropriations. Next, going back to 2020. Next. This is basically looks like this is what the revenue portion of the budget looks like. It's probably no surprise. The vast majority, over 60% of revenues come from local taxes. Other sources of revenue are pilot payments, cable TV franchise agreements, hotel taxes, etc. Every year, you end the year with a surplus, basically any money that's left over from operating in a given year. And then in the following year, use a portion of that surplus. So it's always a balancing act to basically our surplus at the end of 2024 25 was about $16 million, and we are using about $7 million of that surplus as a revenue item in this year's budget. In addition, we tax for and we pay, we're still paying a portion of the school debt, type 1 school debt tax. And then there's smaller things like fines, fees, permits, a library that's it's apportioned. We get about $3 million in state aid per year, et cetera, et cetera. Next. We looked at the appropriations by department, how much each department was spending over the 6-year period. Next. We looked at things that were statutory, unclassified, or miscellaneous appropriations. How much the town spends on Social Security, unemployment insurance, diesel fuel, electricity, so on and so forth. Next. And this is what this year's budget looks like. It's probably not a surprise. Public safety constitutes more than half of municipal spending. The fire department accounts for about 21% of departmental spending. Police department about 35%. All the other smaller wedges up top are all the other business units of the municipal government. Things like human resources, information technology, complete streets, sustainability, town clerk, elections, town attorney, municipal court, et cetera, et cetera. Dozens of smaller business units. Two of the larger are for recycling and solid waste pickup. Next. So this is the 2026 appropriations by category. Again, departmental operations account for about 46% of total costs. Miscellaneous and other is about 12%. That's the various insurance categories. We belong to a joint insurance fund for automobile or workers' compensation and general liability, et cetera. The unclassified section is about 6%. That's for fuel and electricity, so on and so forth. The statutory expenditures are for pensions for municipal employees. PFRS is Police and Fire Retirement System. PERS is for Public Employee Retirement System. Those are your civilian employees. Social Security payments by the town as a employer fall under this category. And then the Montclair Public Library, their portion of that is about $4 million this year. All told, the statutory expenditures are about 15% of the budget. Capital improvements are 1%. Shared services are 1%. Our municipal debt service, including that type 1 school debt service I mentioned before, is about 16%. And then the reserve for uncollected taxes. So we have to account for 100% of our budget. We get billed actually by the schools and by the county. And it doesn't really matter whether you're never going to collect 100% of taxes any given year. And yet we basically have to raise enough to compensate for people who don't pay taxes. And we still have to, even if we're at, I think we're at 98% tax collection rate, we have to create a reserve. And this is a law. It's not like we have discretion over it. We have to account for the 2% of people who don't pay their taxes. So to fund our services and then to also remit to the schools in the county. Next. What are the biggest changes between 25 and 26? Number one is employee group health benefits. Employees, I mentioned $3.5 million before. That is the gross increase. Employees, there's a thing called Chapter 78 where employees pay towards a portion of their health benefits. We also have 3 utilities: the water utility, the sewer utility, the parking utility. Those utilities pay for health insurance for their employees, so they pay a portion of that. So the prorated net effect on the municipal budget, the property tax portion of the municipal budget, is about $2.5 million. We have 7 bargaining units that I mentioned before, each with a labor contract. Those labor contracts have annual cost of living adjustments that are negotiated in advance. Those annual cost of living adjustments come out to about $1.2 million, 1.25. The Montclair Public Library funding in the state of New Jersey is set by a formula. We don't have any control, statutory formula. We don't have any control over it because of changes in the equalized tax base. The additional support of the library is $382,000. It's outside of the municipal, the 2% property tax cap that I mentioned before, but it's still a number. It's still, taxes are going up because of additional support from the library. PSE&G last year increased their rates by 17%. We're anticipating that's going to have a $215,000 impact on the town, on our operations. We have two new departments. One is complete streets and one is sustainability. You know, the employees in the sustainability department were pre-existing employees. The total cost for both departments is about $400,000. The net, because two of the employees were already here, one employee's salary is paid for out of a grant. The net impact is about $200,000 because of everything going on in the Gulf and the Middle East right now. We're anticipating increases in gasoline and diesel prices to the tune of about $144,000. Our reserve for uncollected taxes, because the Board of Education public question number 1 was approved for an additional $12.6 million. As the tax rate goes up, we also anticipate the reserve for uncollected taxes to also go up slightly. That's going up by about $505,000, $506,000. We were ordered by the Essex County Board of Taxation to conduct a property revaluation. That's about a $2 million endeavor. That could be spread out over 5 years, but the down payment portion of that is due. That's about $400,000. The town's computer and telephone network were decrepit. We had 33 devices being either servers or switches or firewalls or the cores. These aren't just computers. These are the things that run the computers. 29 out of 33 devices were in need of being replaced. That's a significant cost. So that impact in this year's budget is about $320,000. Prior year's bills, so the town was behind specifically with some Verizon bills to the tune of about $274,000 from 2022 and 2023. Last year, the town created a utility, a self-liquidating business unit around Clary Anderson Arena. That was created last July. The ice season, the hockey season, ice skating season is typically over. It's a winter sport. Typically opens in September, October. It doesn't finish until April, May. So if you think about it in terms of how the sport runs or how the season runs, you don't make all of your money in the season until more than halfway through the season. The town created the utility so to basically protect property taxpayers from having to foot any of the bill for any of the necessary repairs. There were a significant number of code violations and life health safety repairs that were necessary at Clary Anderson Arena, to the tune of about at least $1 million worth of repairs that were necessary. By creating the utility, actually insulated property taxpayers. So property taxpayers are not footing the bill for the utility for the Clary Anderson Arena. However, in creating the utility, because it was created mid-year in 2025, it didn't get off the ground until October because of more repairs that were necessary. It finished the 2025 calendar year in deficit. The good news is that the ice hockey or ice skating season is still going. It's actually making more money than it's spending. So it will end this year in a surplus, but because of New Jersey budget laws, we had to account for the deficit in the ice arena utility. That's about $270,000. Worst case scenario is we don't spend it. That $270,000 then lapses back as surplus back to the town in next year's budget, but it's just a New Jersey budget law requirement that we have to account for. The police department is always going through vehicles. We signed up with a lease purchase program through Enterprise. The impact on this year's budget is about $114,000. The police department in there, for anybody who's been to the police department building, was the original seat of municipal government. I think opened in about 1893. Is not in the best condition. There were several emergency repairs that were necessary in 2025. When you create an emergency or declare an emergency, doesn't magically give you money. You're basically borrowing from a future year's budget. So the emergency in the police department costs about $100,000. The net increase in appropriations would have been or is $6.7 million to this year's budget. Next. So more good news. The fund balance, our surplus, at the end of 2024 was about $17 million. At the end of 2025, it was down to $16 million. We did not generate or regenerate about $1 million in surplus. What does that mean? That means in 2025's budget, we actually used $8 million of the previous year's budget from 2024 to fund the 2025 budget. But because the surplus, the cash balance was down from 2025, we can only anticipate using $7 million. That's $1 million less in revenue that we have for this year's budget. In terms of revenue, this year's budget, as Joe Monzo said at the last meeting, projects or proposes a 2.55% tax increase, which is about $1.2 million. The municipal portion of the levy is going from, just for municipal purposes, going from about $62.9 million to $64.2 million. The total municipal portion, which includes the library and the school debt, is going from $74 million to $76 million. Next. So before we get to the senior freeze, that 5% reduction that I mentioned before that we asked each department to prepare in terms of the budget translates into about $1.9 million in budget cuts to this year's budget. So the administration is proposing pretty much 5% across the board cuts to all of the departments. That will generate almost $2 million worth of savings in this year's budget. The capital program that funds things like road resurfacing, park improvements, any major equipment, machinery, or vehicle purchases, anything with a useful life of 5 years or more. Last year's budget was about $2.8 million, and this year's budget is $1.5 million, a significant decrease in capital spending. So we've created a balanced budget with a 2.5% tax increase. It gets us through this year. We are hoping we will be monitoring the employee health expenditures, going back out to market with better data for next year, and we're hopeful. Hope is not a strategy, but we are hopeful and confident that employee health benefits will be lower next year. This year, because we didn't have that data from the state of New Jersey, it put us in a precarious position. Finally, one way of managing taxes to an extent is through the state of New Jersey's tax relief program, the senior freeze, the anchor program in the state of New Jersey. A lot of people are eligible. I think it's for seniors age 65 and older and disabled residents. From my understanding, there are a lot of people who are eligible who actually haven't signed up and could have significant tax relief based on that. That is all I have. Part of the 5% reduction, the 5% across the board. So the budget originally called for, we've been involved with shuttle diplomacy and negotiations with the various department directors. a 5% cut to a larger department is obviously going to be a lot more money than a 5% cut to a smaller department. The 5%, single largest department, as everybody saw before, is the police department with a $17 million budget. 5% reduction would have been approximately 875 reduction in the police department's number. We met several times with the police chief. I was anticipating having to do a reduction in force layoff for the police department, but through negotiations in terms of reducing the number of positions through attrition, by reducing overtime and reducing operating expenses. We came about $200,000 apart. So instead of a 5% reduction, it'll probably be at a 4.5% reduction. But by eliminating positions through attrition, by reducing overtime, and by reducing operating expenses in cooperation with the police department, we think we could effectuate about a $675,000 reduction in the police department budget and operations without having to do a layoff for the police department. The second largest department is the fire department. The fire department's budget is about $10 million. 5% reduction would be about $500,000. Because of the administrative changes that we've already enacted in the fire department, we could achieve those savings without having to do a reduction in force. All of the other departments, I've been working with the department heads to basically go over cost savings, budget cuts, either through attrition, if those departments have positions that if people retire or leave, where we either don't fill those positions, or perhaps we can fill positions with part-timers instead of full-timers, which would be a significant cost savings. Or it may be necessary in some departments to actually create a reduction in force and layoff plan. So one of the larger departments is Department of Community Services, essentially the Department of Public Works function. So we met several times with I'm sorry to be behind you. So we met several times with the Director of Department of Community Services, and we are recommending, in terms of some of the reorganization that the mayor alluded to before, consolidating some of the business units in the Department of Community Services. For example, sanitation and recycling are two different business units, two different operations, two different sets of supervisors and foremen. They essentially perform the same function, just one division picks up solid waste, garbage. The other division picks up recycling, very similar programs, but by consolidating two, we are confident that we can basically reduce costs through attrition. We recommend consolidation of the Shade Tree Division with Parks Division, again, to enhance staffing and reduce overhead through attrition of either supervisors or foremen. Similarly, there are 3 or 4 different business units related to the roads function. One is roads maintenance, a second is storm maintenance, which is typically like maintenance of catch basins and inlets, things of that nature. A lot of that infrastructure is already in the road. Traffic division that takes care of traffic lights, traffic signals, and there's a fourth that's not coming to me. By consolidating those 4 divisions, we anticipate being able to reduce overhead and basically middle management. Another is the Department of Code, Department of Administration, Code Enforcement and Environmental Services. Last year, the town by ordinance created a Department of Sustainability. So the Department of Administration, Code Enforcement, and Environmental Affairs became a little bit redundant in that there was already now a new Department of Sustainability. We are proposing to basically dismantle that. The fire department study that we conducted last year highlighted a significant need. We are far behind on the number of fire inspections that need to take place every year in the town. The code enforcers, there are several of the code enforcers in the code enforcement division who are going for their fire official fire inspection licenses with the state of New Jersey. If you work for the fire official, you can conduct fire inspections. So by moving code enforcement from Department of Administration to the fire department, it can create one-stop shopping where the code enforcers who may be out doing inspections for various reasons anyway can now conduct the inspections for the fire department. Homeowners and businesses, instead of having to get 2 inspections done, could basically, if permitted, if these administrative changes are approved by you, the governing body, it would consolidate things and allow them to, there's synergies and economies of scale, where the inspectors would only have to go out to a business or a property once rather than multiple times. Those are some of the administrative changes that we're proposing, that we're hoping achieve economies of scale or can reduce operational spending through attrition or consolidation. That's all I have. So the official public hearing on the budget is May 5th. Now's not the time for the questions per se. I mean, I'm here in case the mayor and council need any clarification or it's a lot to digest. You have an official copy of the budget in front of you, which is more than 100 pages on legal size paper. So I expect people have a lot of comments or questions now, but it gives us a little over or just about a month to go through to comb through the budget, ask questions, and make that if necessary.
Thank you very much, manager. I appreciate that. I am going to just ask in case a council member here has something that they feel shouldn't wait until May 5th or just need a clarification. Is everybody okay to move on? Or does anyone here have any question or anything that they'd like to say, council member? No. Okay, so seeing none, we're going to move on. Thank you very much, manager. We are going to move on to our part of the meeting where we have.
Oh, yeah, that's the budget. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
we're gonna do that right now.
Yes.
Okay.
That's what's listed, Mayor, sorry, under presentation, right under there, you'll see resolution. Where it says presentation, right underneath, which is the resolution introducing. And is it supposed to be in the policy?
It's a public hearing.
That's what's listed on the resolution.
Okay, that's what you see.
See you later.
You want to
We
see
do
this
that
later?
too. Yeah.
I think it was right, the meeting started on or some thereafter.
Yeah.
So that way if you were to go earlier, you
So
can-
we can.
Okay, so, I'm sorry, you were having.
So Madam Clerk, can you instruct us, like?
Okay.
This time we're going to introduce the resolution. A resolution including the year 2026 municipal budget pursuant to N.J.S.A 40A 44 plus 4-5. What?
Do we need to make a change to the, we want to make?
That's the question that I have. The hearing time, so you're introducing the budget, Mayor, and you're also setting forth the date and time of the hearing on the budget. Currently it reads as May 5, 8 p.m. So that's what my question is to the governing body. Do you want to set the hearing time for 8 p.m.? What we customarily do for hearings is set it for the start time of the meeting. And then we include language that says, or as soon thereafter possible. That way if you
May
do start
7 p.m. or as soon.
We're gonna start at 5:30 now.
But we're gonna go into the executive session.
If there's an executive session scheduled, I can get that.
Right, so I'm gonna say on May 5th, 2026 at 7 p.m.
Okay.
or as soon thereafter as possible? Okay,
All right, you have a moment.
I so move.
Second.
Resolution introducing the year 2026 municipal budget. The governing body of the Township of Montclair does hereby approve the foregoing as the approved budget for year 2026. The hearing of the budget and tax resolution will be held at the Township Municipality Building on May 5th, 2026 at 7 p.m. or as soon thereafter as possible. Which time and place object to said budget and tax resolution for the year 2026 may be presented by taxpayers or other interested persons. And I so move. All in favor? Any opposed? Any abstentions? Thank you. Okay. Yes, one question in here.
About if it hasn't been published already on the Montclair website, the 2026 budget, when will that be made available?
I'll work with Matt Emerald to upload it tomorrow, if it's not already there.
Okay, thank you. That's a pretty big accomplishment, and thank you. And so now, at this point in time, we're gonna move on to portion of our meeting where we have proclamations. And all the council members were able to sign the proclamation. The first proclamation up is for Arab American Heritage Month. Is anybody interested in presenting the Arab American Heritage Month proclamation? Councilor D'Amato, are there individuals here who wish to come forward, please? Did everyone sign, council members?
Yeah.
Okay,
All signed and ready to go.
please come forward. How are you? Good to see you. Yeah, great to see you guys. Yeah, we're excited.
Township of Montclair, New Jersey proclamation for Arab American Heritage Month. Whereas the United States is home to more than 3.7 million Arab Americans, 250,000 of whom reside in New Jersey. New Jersey has the fifth largest Arab American population in the country. And whereas Arab Americans who collectively trace their origins to nearly 24 Arabic-speaking countries in the Middle East and North Africa, represent a rich diversity of cultures, dialects, religions, and traditions. And whereas for over a century, Arab Americans have been making valuable contributions to virtually every aspect of American society in medicine, law, business, entrepreneurship, education, technology, government, military service, culture. And whereas since migrating to America, people of Arab descent share their rich culture and traditions with neighbors and friends, while also setting fine examples of model citizens, public servants. And whereas they share with us this their resilient family values, strong work ethic, dedication to education, and diversity in faith, creed that have added strength to our great democracy. They join all Americans in their desire to see a peaceful and diverse society where every individual is treated equally and feels safe. And whereas the celebration of Arab American ancestry and cultural heritage educates our fellow Americans to counter harmful stereotypes, now therefore be it resolved, in keeping with the Township of Montclair's commitment to promoting respect and tolerance for all cultures and traditions, the mayor and council of the Township of Montclair do hereby recognize the rich heritage of Americans of Arab descent, celebrate their immeasurable contributions to our nation, and proclaim April 2026 as Arab American Heritage Month. We call upon all Americans to learn more about the history of Arab Americans and to observe the heritage.
Something for 1 or 2 minutes?
Just 1 to 2
1 or 2
minutes.
minutes?
Yes,
Yeah.
I would.
Thank
Thank you so much. Thank you. Well, good evening, Mayor and council members.
My name is Marie Curie, and I'm honored to be here tonight as the president of FARA, the Foundation for Arab American Heritage, a community organization founded right here in Montclair. On behalf of our entire organization, I want to express our deepest gratitude to the mayor and town council for this proclamation recognizing Arab American Heritage Month. This gesture sends a powerful message that Montclair truly values the diversity that makes this town so special. When our children see others embrace the beauty and joy of Arab American heritage, it pushes back against the misrepresentation and negative stereotypes they so often encounter and fills them with pride and confidence. Especially in light of current events, proclamations like this one are more important than ever, giving our whole community the opportunity to celebrate the cultural and professional contributions of Arab Americans, a people woven into the fabric of this nation and New Jersey for more than a century. FARA was founded to celebrate the joy of Arab American culture, foster understanding, and advocate for a more just and inclusive community. We are proud to call Montclair home, and this recognition inspires us to continue that work. To celebrate this month, we are collaborating with Montclair Public Library, Montclair Art Museum, and Montclair Mud for hands-on workshops bringing Arab American art, food, and culture to our neighbors. We invite everyone to join us. To stay informed, you can follow FARA on Instagram and Facebook at FARA N.J.S.A. And thank you again for this honor. We look forward to a joyful month of celebration together. Thank you.
Okay. There's another proclamation that I don't see. Proclamation, you will have a copy of yes. Oh, the proclamation. There's two. Okay. Okay, now we have a proclamation, and I'm sure everyone would want to stand here. This is the Autism Acceptance Month. Do we have people that are here to receive the proclamation? No. Okay, well, that's okay. We will stand together here. I'm sure we're very excited to do this, and I'm just going to read the highlights here of this very special proclamation. Whereas the Autistic Self-Advocacy Network defines that autism is developmental disability that affects how autistic people experience the world around them. Autism has always existed. Autistic people are born with autism and will have autism throughout their entire life. Whereas autism awareness is knowing that someone is autistic. Autism acceptance is knowing someone is autistic and including accepting them for all that they are. Acceptance is an action. And whereas a disability is any condition of the body or mind that often makes it more difficult for the person with the condition to do certain activities and interact with the world around them. Whereas many adult autistic people embrace the infinity symbol that can be gold. These are things that the autistic population like. It's a chemical symbol for gold. And the infinity symbol can also be seen with rainbow colors, as rainbow colors can embody diversity and inclusion within the neurodivergent community. Whereas the Township of Montclair recognizes that autistic people have a variety of support needs. Understanding support needs and how Montclair can increase community inclusion is possible by listening to the voices and messaging of autistic self-advocates and neurotypical allies who amplify autistic people. Now, therefore, the mayor of this great township and the council do hereby proclaim April
2nd as Autism Acceptance Day and April as Autism Acceptance Month.
One more proclamation, the proclamation for Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Do we have people that wish to come forward and accept this proclamation? Okay. Please join us. Thank you.
So this is we have to be Township of Montclair for Sexual Assault Awareness Month. Sexual Assault Awareness Month was first nationally recognized in April of 2001. The incident of sexual violence has profound impact on individuals and communities. Where studies indicated over half of women and more than 1 in 2 men experience sexual violence. Physical contact during their life. Majority of survivors know underscoring the urgent need for education, prevention, and survivor assistance. Where studies further indicate that individuals in the LGBTQIA+ community are also at an increased risk of experiencing sexual violence. 47 of transgender individuals, 2 in 5 gay men, and 1 in 8 lesbian women reported experiencing sexual assault or violence in their life. Where sexual violence does not discriminate and affects individuals of all gender and identities, races, ethnicities, ages, and socioeconomic backgrounds, survivors often remain silent in fear of blame, shame, disbelief, or re-victimization, making it critical to foster a culture of belief, support. Whereas the goal of SAAM is to bring visibility to the issue of sexual violence and promote prevention, efforts can rise by the teal ribbon, which represents trust, devotion, and healing. Over time, SAAM has expanded to focus on prevention education for community, workplace, and campuses, encouraging behavior change and respect to prevent the physical, emotional, and social impact of sexual violence. Whereas the Family Service League, established in 1881, is a nonprofit organization committed to strengthening and supporting individuals through counseling, advocacy, and education. FSL provides trauma-informed services to survivors, their loved ones, and the broader community. And whereas SAVE, which is stands for Sexual Assault and Violence Education, state that SAVE plays a critical role in the sexual assault responsibility. Nurse examiner, law enforcement, and contravention sexual violence. This multidisciplinary team works to provide direct support to survivors while advancing prevention through education and advocacy. Now, therefore, be it resolved that the mayor and council of the Township of Montclair do hereby formally recognize April 2026 as Sexual Assault Awareness Month, and we commend Family Service to the state of Essex County program for its unwavering dedication to supporting survivors, educating the public, and advocating for a future that is free from sexual violence. We call upon all residents to take an active part in prevention and awareness efforts.
Okay, so up next, is part of the meeting. For the people who have not yet signed up, who wish to speak. If you're not, we're going to move forward. Who has the, sign up? Okay. Ruby, Ruby, Ruby. Ruby. Sorry to interrupt. Can you see that up there? Oh, it's mine. You want me to sign up? Okay. This will be the last call for sign up. Okay. And everyone, that comes up this evening can have 30 minutes. And when you come up, please the podium, and please let us know your name, your first and your last name, and make sure that you keep it up to the 3 moments that are allowed, please. Thank you.
I'm gonna try.
Okay, first up is Noemi Maxwell.
Should I reserve that for the, I'd like to speak on the Montclair Trust Act, should I reserve it for that portion? Oh, it's not the first reading. Oh, okay. Is this where I should stand? I'm the first on the phone.
Let's turn it around. Yeah, let's hear, we'll
Oh.
swing the podium
Thank
around,
you.
and that'll be great, thank you.
Thank you.
Yep.
My name is Noemi Maxwell. I live at 67 Bay Street in Montclair, and thank you very much for taking my comments today. I'm here to speak on the Montclair Immigrant Trust Act. It is a daily reality for us that the federal government is engaging in profound lawlessness. And when it comes to immigration, that's one of the main ways it's directing this lawlessness in a violent way towards the American people. So I thank the members of this body for bringing this resolution forward. This is a way that for this town to express the will of the people here and to show the power that local governments have, which is considerable power, to stand up for our democracy, preserving our democracy, to stand up for the rule of law and for common decency and all of the things that we heard about supporting rich cultural diversity in some of the some of the resolutions tonight. So thank you very much for doing that. And I hope, I also want to recognize the Montclair high school students who walked out and all the others. These resolutions forward, and it is a way for all of us to stand strong together, to stand up for decency. So thank you. I hope that there's a unanimous approval of this law today. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Our next guest this evening is Laura Kenny, and I'd also like to mention, please, if you do wish to be heard on one of the ordinances on second reading, please wait until we get to that portion of the agenda.
Laura Kenny, 51 Tremont Place, Montclair. I'm here tonight representing Montclair Invisible. Good evening.
Good evening.
I've come here tonight to thank you for your leadership and to underscore the importance of your role during this difficult period in our country. The adoption of the Montclair Trust Act is critical as it is designed to strengthen protections for our immigrant communities by prohibiting township resources from being used for federal civil immigration enforcement, as well as limiting access to city property and databases. It mirrors legislation already adopted by the state of New Jersey. Increasingly, Americans are asking their state and local municipal governments to protect us from the federal government. The occupation of Minnesota has ramped up pressure across the country for state and local governments to do more to protect residents from the federal government's violence and violation of civil liberties. Today, the violence of federal agents against immigrants and dissenters has created an atmosphere of ongoing fear. We now see and understand that there is an alliance of big government and big tech aggregating our data and building an emerging surveillance state. New Jersey has one of the highest immigrant population shares in the United States. Immigrants, mainly from Asia and Latin America, are essential to the workforce and account for over 30% of labor and nearly 37% of entrepreneurs. We know from community groups and leaders that many immigrant families and children are missing medical appointments and fearful of making their way to food pantries and other sources of support. We have seen our high school students walk out of class demanding protection for our immigrant neighbors, and I applaud them. They are continuing a tradition here in Montclair where we welcome all and protect those who come to live and work here. The adoption of the Montclair Trust Act is essential to make clear to our federal government and to our immigrant neighbors that we recognize and intend to ensure their right to live in peace and with security. We're turning to our local government for protection. We look to all of you to demonstrate the leadership and courage this moment requires. Adopt the Montclair Trust Act now. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is McGovern, please.
Good evening. My name is Adam Govern. I live at 87 St. John's Avenue in Mount Tabor, New Jersey. I also work with the No Ice North Jersey Alliance, abbreviated as Project Ninja, though our faces you can see. I thank you for welcoming and offering an ear to an out-of-towner. Welcome is the core of what this ordinance and I know this town is about. We need to be good neighbors across all our towns as well as within them. And you definitely be good neighbors to my area by passing this ordinance. The proposed ice warehouse concentration camp in Roxbury is 20 minutes from my house. And every layer of protection that every town in the north of the state can put in place keeps people out of that jail if it opens and keeps thugs off of all our streets looking for ways to fill. We're working to keep there from being another place to put people, so they'll be less likely to patrol your streets terrorizing your residents, and you can make it harder for them to. You've done a good job formulating a strong ordinance that reflects secure values and sound legal principles. You are well within your rights under the 10th Amendment to decline cooperation with the federal government for federal functions, and will be well meeting the responsibilities not to support this reign of terror. Trump sued Hoboken over their immigrant trust executive order, and they responded by passing their own Hoboken Trust Act, which he hasn't even tried to counter, and the original suit seems to be going nowhere. We're realizing how weak these threats are just as soon as local officials of competence and conviction stand up to them. This is solid law and it fills some gaps in what has been passed from Trenton. When beloved neighbors are kidnapped, when families are torn apart, and businesses are put in peril, and civic stability and security are thrown into chaos, Trenton isn't the first to see the consequences and have to handle them. You are. So you're where the rubber meets the road, so you can help show our state legislators and governor the path they need to take. We know who our immigrant neighbors really are. They build communities and care for the American values they risk everything to come here and contribute to. And we know who the real current regime is. They're real criminals who have no respect for your job and no place for democratic processes like this one in their plans. By passing this ordinance, you can show them both who you are. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Joanne Kahn.
Good evening. My name is Joanne Casper and I live at 98 Gordonhurst Avenue. I'm here tonight to speak on the snow removal, detritus removal from the Erie and Essex parks. First, I just want to say we looked at our phones and found that there's a ceasefire in Iran and the 8 p.m. scheduled bombing has apparently not gone forward. So my concern about Erie and Essex Park is, of course, about what is going to be done there to remediate the situation. But that concern is part of a larger issue for me. And that issue is the evident, profound disregard and lack of understanding of the value of trees and green space in this community. I have just seen so many heartbreaking examples of disregard for the value of this natural environment. The substitution of a plastic tarp at Watchung Playground for shade when all the trees were removed. People are sitting under a plastic tarp. That tarp does not provide any environmental benefit to this town and neighborhood at all. There was a prior environmental benefit there and we cut them down. Also, numerous street trees were removed as part of the error-laden sidewalk replacement program. I personally had a battle with the zoning code officer and the arborist. I paid my own private arborist to come in and have a discussion. We tried to meet 3 times, and finally we were able to keep our tree. We paid $2,500 to construct a little circle around our tree, and then we find out we might not have had to do this at all. But many trees on my street were cut down because of this. I'm sure everyone on the council espouses concern about climate change. Well, this issue is in your purview and your power. You can't change the country's wind power program. You can't change our energy policy. What you can do is on a community level. This is the community level. I would ask that you educate yourselves on the value of trees and green space. Seriously, educate yourselves. According to the US EPA, trees improve air quality because pollutants are deposited on leaves, including particulate matter, nitrogen oxide, sulfur dioxide, carbon monoxide, and ozone. It supports water quality. It reduces water runoff up to 15 to 27%, provides wildlife habitat, and reduces heat-related illness and death.
Thank you very
Please
much.
remediate the site properly.
Thank you. Priscilla Benson?
Good evening, council. I'm Priscilla Knudsen.
Knudsen, I
That's
apologize.
okay. With a name like that, anything close is fine. I live in Ward 2 on Crestmont Road, and I too wish to speak about the remediation of the 2 parks. And the concern that I have is that proper sampling of the remaining snow masses be done so that we realize, so that we can learn and have actual data about the remaining materials after the snow melts, so that it does not tip over into a hazardous waste remediation, because that will jack the price up so much more. And I think proper sampling and attention to that detail is critical so that we know how to properly remediate. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Claire Ciliata.
Ciliata, 279 Park Street. I think that I want to say to you, first, do no harm. And secondly, preserve the sanctity of life. The life of deer and animals and the life of people. You have 2 ordinances before you that can do that. And do it well. So please, pass them. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next is Catherine Marlowe.
Hi, my name is Catherine Mulrow. I live at 29 Montclair Avenue. I'd like to comment very briefly on 2 topics up for discussion this evening: the Montclair Immigrant Trust Act and remediation of Erie and Essex parks. I urge the council to pass the Immigrant Trust Act. I have worked closely with local immigrant families for 9 years. They, like the rest of us, should be able to trust and depend on our local police without fear of being detained by ICE and being separated by their families. And regarding Essex and Erie parks, my family and I have lived on Montclair Avenue between these 2 parks for over 40 years. We cherish the green space and mature life-giving trees that these parks provide. The desecration of these precious spaces with contaminated snow, garbage, road salt, and chemicals is heartbreaking. Families picnic and play ball at Erie Park, including our own family, and sled and climb the hill at Essex Park. It's devastating to think that these may be unsafe spaces. Another concern, and I'm not well informed, but is there contamination of groundwater? I urge the town council to move quickly and enlist professionals to remediate the damage done.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, is it Nudie? Negi, thank you.
Hey, my name is Carl Nagy, and I live in the first ward on Buckingham Road. And I'm here I see you guys are going to be doing a first reading of an ordinance about removing the redevelopment plan for Elm Street. So I saw that we're going to be downzoning a big portion of Bloomfield Avenue to a C3 zone, which is further downzoned below what it was long ago, is my understanding, and what the rest of Bloomfield Avenue is. I would hope that we might not go that low for Bloomfield Avenue especially. That area is really close to train stations. And I think building housing all over Montclair, including my ward, I would love to see more in the first ward too. But we have a real affordability crisis in town. We truly don't have enough housing. And people that want to move here right now, the only people who can get houses are people with a lot of money who are inheriting them. And people graduating from high school who are in their 20s or 30s aren't able to move back. And even some of these places with high rents, I think the rent's too high, and that's why we need more housing. You talk to them and you say, oh, the rich people and stuff, but you actually talk to them. They're people that grew up in town, love to live here, and cannot afford a house, but that's what they can afford. So I think the building near transit is a great idea. I think it would be good for us fiscally, because it's a lot easier to service buildings that are more dense and already there. And I think we have a lot of wood to chop on bringing down the cost of housing, because there's a lot of problems, and it's causing a lot of problems for a lot of people. And the last thing is we have an inclusionary zoning in that area. So a lot of the housing we build is going to have affordable units. So I really hope that we can maybe just go to C1 instead of C3 and go that.
Thank you very much. Next, forgive me if I can't read this property. It looks like Kasim Long Robertson. I apologize. I can't read this clearly.
Hello, my name is Cassio Lang Robertson, and I'm here to speak in support of the Mountain Trust Act. I live on Orange Road. So, yes, there was good news about ICE in New Jersey. The Roxbury facility plans are thankfully shut down, but it is still a danger. There are still 2 facilities left in New Jersey, and I believe that ICE still poses enough of a threat that we really need to take action right now. So we've all heard horrific stories from Blading Hall and St. Elizabeth facility. The recent death of this man, inhumane conditions, no medical care, abuse from guards. This is everywhere in the country, and these stories we see are a small fraction of what goes on, because ICE has been known to cover up the vast majority of abuses that happen. Sometimes the detainee could die, and no one will find out for months until months later. So the Montclair Trust Act does everything it can to stop ICE from oppressing Montclair residents. It is vital that we pass it immediately. We must protect the immigrant community that we have in Montclair and make sure that every single resident of Montclair, regardless of immigration status, is protected from ICE. We've all seen what people of Montclair think about ICE. They've seen the walkout, there's protests every single Sunday in the heart of Montclair. And I'm glad that so far the town council has condemned ICE, what ICE has done, but condemning is not enough to stop ICE. Simply saying that ICE is bad won't do anything to protect our citizens in Montclair. So we must take action. This is the council's chance to take action and show that it is willing to protect the immigrants in Montclair. So we must pass the Montclair Trust Act. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next, Jules Di Benedetto. Yes, Jules Di Benedetto, please.
Hello, members of the Town Council. My name is Jules Di Benedetto, and I live in the 7th Ward. I am one of 3 organizers of the MHS walkout against ICE that occurred on March 12th. I stand before you today not just as a resident, but as a neighbor, a friend, and a fellow human being, asking you to choose compassion over fear. The Montclair Immigrant Trust Act is not about politics, it's about people. It's about the mother who walks her child to school every morning, wondering if today is the day her family is torn apart. It's about the father who works long hours, pays taxes, and contributes to our community, yet lives in constant fear of being taken from everything he's built. These are not strangers, they are Montclair. When people are afraid to call the police, report crimes, or seek help, we all become less safe. Trust is the foundation of any strong community, and right now, that trust is fragile. This act helps rebuild it. It tells our neighbors, you belong here, you are safe here. We pride ourselves on being a welcoming and inclusive town. Now is the moment to prove it, not just in words, but in action. Choose humanity. I urge you to pass the Montclair Immigrant Trust Act. Choose dignity. Choose the kind of community we all want to live.
Thank you very much. Nola Kim, welcome.
Good evening, my name is Nola Kim. I want to start by thanking Deputy Mayor Susan Shin Anderson, Councilor Aline Bergenham, and William Harrison, and apologize if I mispronounce your name. And for all of you for sponsoring and supporting the Montclair Immigrant Trust Act. This ordinance is a real step towards protecting our community and building trust, something so many residents breathe in. I will speak briefly during public comment. These protections outlined in the ordinance is very clear and straightforward. Township employees, volunteers, and resources will not be used to enforce civil immigration laws unless required by valid judicial report. It protects non-public areas, databases, and ensures residents won't be asked for their immigration status unnecessarily. These rules matter, not just on paper, but in the daily lives of families who deserve to feel safe in their homes and towns. This is why I'm here tonight. For the third, because while this ordinance is being introduced, its promise won't mean anything unless it is carried out fully, consistently, and quickly. Families and students and neighbors are living in fear right now. And delay, even if unintentional, has real consequences. The fact that it has been such a fight to even get this on the agenda with over a month is ridiculous. Honestly, if you think about it, we could be fighting to be a sanctuary city, but we know Montclair's history, and that's highly unlikely. But even these changes will make this town so much better and will count. We must act now to try to rebuild our community trust and the belief that Montclair is the town that it says it is. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Next guest, Victoria Luna.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Victoria Luna. I'm going to speak shortly now and again when the Montclair Immigration Trust Act is brought forward. I'm here at the Town Council for the third time to talk about the same issue. I'm coming straight from track practice. I haven't had a chance to shower or change my clothes, but I'm here because I care and because you should too. Immigration and customs enforcement has continued to plunder our society. Our people feel unsafe, and for good reason too. But you know this. For at least a month, me, my fellow students, and fellow residents have been speaking on this topic. And here we are. The time is right. Pass this out. Thank you.
Thank you. David, something, 58 Tuxedo. David Core, what is it? How do you spell that?
Orphanage. Good evening.
T-H-Y-E.
Hey there, everyone. So 2 years ago, I'm actually speaking on a completely different topic. 2 years ago, Montclair passed a climate action plan. Since then, a lot has happened. There's, putting it mildly, we've had wars, we've had red wars, ice shootings, threats to democracy. I could go on, but you get the picture. And yet, out in the world, climate change has continued unabated. 2024 was the hottest year on record. 2025 was not far behind, and 2026 is becoming El Nino looks to be a doozy. We continue to see effects of freakishly warm and bright weather in the American West, droughts in Europe and the Middle East, flooding in Southern Africa, extreme storms in Southeast Asia, and recent reports indicate that climate change may actually be accelerating. There's many important issues you're dealing with. I just like look over the agenda, and there's like 4 different things I wish I had time to talk about between the Immigrant Trust Act and Erie and Essex Park and the tree ordinance and so many things. But one of the challenges for leaders such as you is to balance immediate needs with long-term planning. So do what needs to be done now without losing sight of the long-term strategic plan change anything. So climate change is an example of a long-term problem we can't lose sight of while we're focusing on the important things we look at now. We passed a climate change plan, and I think it would be good to make sure we're following through on it. And we asked the Sustainability Director and the Environmental Commission for a 2-year status update on how much progress have we made, which of any of the priority actions have we acted on. Beyond that, it's worth noting that Montclair had been pushing for a complete street for a year, past plans and so on. Nothing happened until institutionally a structure was put in place to center in all infrastructure decisions. So the good news is we don't have to hire a sustainability director like we had to hire a complete streets director because we already have one. But I call you to take steps to ensure that climate and sustainability are seriously considered in big town decisions. Otherwise, we're selling out our children and grandchildren. One of the most important things a municipality can do to address climate change is to promote alternative cars, biking, walking, public transit. And by the way, as concerned citizens, one of the most important things citizens could do is to drive less, walk, bike, and use public transit. As you know, I'm part of a group looking, as maybe you know, I'm part of a group looking to put bike lane and other traffic calming measures along Grove Street. As you also know, that is a county road, and it turns out the county won't act on a bike lane request on a county road unless the town has a bike plan. So I'm asking you to have Montclair adopt a bike plan. Frankly, this would be a good thing to, generally speaking. Active mobility has been demonstrated to have many good effects. Environmental, of course, like air pollution in Paris is way down since they people bike more and drove less. But also for public health, for social trust, for children's independence and autonomy, for equity. For example, there's census tracts in Montclair where there's 10, 20, or even 30% of the households don't have cars. In short, having a bike plan to develop a biking and also walking network over the next 10 years would benefit Montclair tremendously and also make also the Grove Street Freeway that I'm working on. So I ask you to make sure it gets done as quickly as possible, and thank you for all your work in the country.
Thank you very much. Next step, Anna Grossman. Anna Grossman, please. Anna Grossman? Oh, okay. I thought it was last. Anna Grossman, followed by Jessica Salzberg.
All right. I have been an environmental advocate for about 25 years. Before moving to Montclair, my advocacy focused on getting BPA out of baby bottles, flame retardants out of sofas, phthalates out of children's products, and banning hydraulic fracking in New York. In that work, the opposition was clear. For-profit corporations and the politicians those corporations sponsor, and who in turn guarantee that business as usual continues regardless of the public health or environmental cost. The motive, great, not a good thing, but it's something you can fight. I got involved in environmental advocacy because it's in my DNA and my family's values. I grew up around people who protect the environment fiercely. My uncle Carl Grossman, a veteran investigative journalist and environmentalist, did reporting that led to Fire Island being declared a national seashore, protected in perpetuity. Why did it need protection? Because Robert Moses, a parks commissioner, wanted to build a 4-lane highway through it using public funds. Moses was so enraged by my uncle's coverage that he had him fired from his job at a paper. Getting him fired didn't stop him, and if you have been to Fire Island and enjoyed blackened cars, you can thank the environmental advocates and journalists who brought light to some really shady stuff. I'll share the story because I never imagined that environmental advocacy in progressive Montclair would feel at times harder than fighting the petrol and chemical industries of poor Robert Moses. That we would need the press to bring light to town environmental problems, but here we are. The Township of Montclair used public funds to damage public parkland by failing to follow public guidelines. Our tax dollars paid for the garbage glacier at Erie and Essex. Our tax dollars paid for every chunk taken out of the oaks at Essex Park. Our tax dollars paid for the oaks at Woodman to be felled and for plastic turf to kill the biodiversity of acres of soil. And our tax dollars will now pay for the cleanup. I want this council to sit with the timeline. We've been calling for action since February 11th. So have some of the councilors here who did respond to our concerns. Rutgers Cooperative Extension submitted written recommendations advising immediate removal of the snow. Those recommendations were ignored for weeks. The soil is now saturated because the snow is still there. The window did not close on its own. It was closed by inaction. When the administration finally attempted removal today, 56 days after February 11th, they used a 15,000-pound pickup truck with a plow. It got stuck in the mud, kind of like using a spoon to cut a steak. This situation is not an isolated mistake. It's a pattern in this town. I expect this council to change that pattern. I expect the Shade Tree Department to operate under leadership that does not unilaterally decide to damage environmentally sensitive parks, does not deploy 47,000-pound equipment over tree root zones, and does not misrepresent NJDP guidelines to the public. I'm done watching our tax dollars be used to harm the environment in this town, and I'm done with our lack of strong ordinances to protect the environment. I hope my elected leaders reject business as usual and move this town forward.
Thank you.
Everyone, similar to Anna Grossman, I think many of you know that I have spent countless hours trying to get movement at Erie and Essex Park so that we could have dangerous material removed and move into repair. And that has still not happened. I would like to extend my thanks to Councilors Tuller and Harrison for your proactive approach and your vision that this is possible. So if I seem critical in these remarks, that may come later, please know that they are not directed at you. But for right now, I'm going to be reading the words of a member of our community named Troy Weaver. Some of you may know Coach Weaver. He was my son's varsity soccer coach for 3 years. He was an incredibly important part of my son's life, which made him an important part of our life. And these are his words. Rainbow Hill. I still call this Rainbow Hill, and the park across the street, Rainbow Park. There used to be a large handball and tennis wall in Rainbow Park with a huge rainbow painted across it. That's where the names came from. That rainbow wasn't just paint, it was identity, it was joy. It was something you could see from a distance and you know exactly where you were. Rainbow Hill is a place I return to again and again. I teach at the Montclair Cooperative School 1 block away, and I often bring my classes to the Hill. I'm also the boys varsity coach at Montclair High School, and every preseason we hold a meditation workshop right there on that hill. It's part of how we prepare, not just physically, but mentally. And it's personal too. I bring my 2 kids there. His children are 2 and 5, I believe. Music classes on summer mornings, sledding in the winter. It's part of our everyday life. Every day I pass that hill, and every day it's discouraging to see the state it's in. My 5-year-old son asks me every time we drive by, will it ever be the same again? And I tell him, it depends on how the town decides to handle it. I hope a decision is made soon, because the next time he asks, I want to be able to tell him, yes, it will. And then he included a photograph of his current soccer team on that hill, and it made me cry because I knew that my son spent time on that hill, and he learned meditation and appreciation of nature on that hill. And my family uses that park, and we walked our dogs to that park, and a dog of mine that was injured went up and down that hill to become repaired, to improve his legs. And that park has been covered. The hill is just now showing again. And I don't know, Manager Marks, if you don't live in Montclair, but maybe there's a park near your home that matters to you. And your dismissal of this park and your staff's dismissal of this park has harmed us and hurt us. And you have actually an excellent reputation. People have mentioned that to me from other places. We need that reputation that you earned to apply to the care of these parks. And now I want to show you something that to me represented the complete abandonment of these parks and the people who care about them, and more than anything, public safety. I wrote to you originally.
Next guest,
about this.
please.
March 10th.
I'm sorry.
Since March 10th, this sat on top of
Was
the
that the
heaps.
3 minutes?
Yes.
Okay, next
With
guest,
me,
I'm
there
sorry,
is
your time
I'm
is
gonna
up.
finish for 30 seconds.
David
20
Henry
seconds.
Sterry is the
There
next
is
guest.
an
Would you please
pedestrian
come
crosswalk
forward?
nearby that is missing this, and it was on a Jeep surrounded by
Ariane
garbage.
Exter.
So I hope you
Ariane
find out where
Exter or
it is so
David
nobody
Henry
else is
Sterry.
injured.
I'm sorry, but your time is up. David Henry Sterry or Ariane Exter.
Maybe your staff can find out where this belongs, and you can protect the people of Montclair.
You'll start the clock.
I know.
Good evening. I'm David Henry Sterry, Montclair resident. 2 weeks ago, a number of taxpayers went over to Essex Park to clean up what had come to look like a nuclear waste dump, with icy black snow covered in garbage reaching over 10 feet up in the air, smothering the old growth trees. Newly planted trees had all been slashed, run over, decimated by equipment used to haul the snow. These young trees that my tax dollars paid for are dead. Yeah, they're dead. Essex Park is usually inhabited by kids, families, their dogs. On the day I showed up, there were kids and families there to help. But instead of playing, these kids were wearing plastic gloves holding industrial strength garbage bags. After we gathered dozens of used condoms, drug vials, and other unchild-friendly detritus, it was clear that no kid should be anywhere near this site.
Yes.
And the burning feeling running up my arms showed me that no human or animal should be on this site without protective gear. Let me say a word about the quote-unquote snow. My grandfather was a coal miner. The pitchfork and axe I brought with me were the only match for what had become a substance so hard it made coal look like cotton. And yet in 2 hours, I was able to hack away a big chunk of this black iceberg. Obviously, putting this snow drenched in chemicals and salt on a public park was a disastrous decision. One that, according to Montclair local, is against the law in New Jersey. The local also quoted a scientist from Rutgers saying the snow should be removed immediately so that our residents can go back to enjoying the park and so the old growth trees have a chance to survive. You now have an ordinance in front of you that can make that happen. Despite being hailed as an environmentally friendly town, we seem utterly unable to care for our environment, particularly our trees. Our township should be aligned with our taxpayers who do care about the environment, not with individual employees. Vote yes tonight to show us you care about our parks, our trees, and the interests of your constituents. Lastly, as the son of immigrants, I urge you to pass the Immigrant Trust Act. Thank you for your time.
Ariel Extet Montclair resident. So now that the council has voted to grant a generous subsidy to the developer for Lackawanna Plaza for a plan that the majority of the council, as I understand it, feels is not the right one, there are still ways we can make Lackawanna Plaza a more financially successful and public forward plan. What I'm here to talk about tonight is traffic, and by extension, adding small side streets into the plan. The traffic study that was conducted was by all professional standards weak and misleading. Traffic is going to be a major problem, which is not good for anyone. Streets make up Montclair's most voluminous public spaces. They are what make us the quote-unquote walkable suburb. The only reason there are no streets breaking up the land on either side of Lackawanna is because it was previously a train station, which it obviously is no more. Instead, it should mimic the layout of the rest of downtown with smaller streets lined with parking that come off the main avenues. These small streets will not just provide walkable public spaces and more parking, but also egress. If there is too much traffic on one street, you can turn off onto another. Small streets will benefit retailers, restaurants, and offices that line them. Small streets also slow traffic, whereas the idea to turn Grove into a speedway with no street parking speeds up traffic up. We already have enough traffic accidents in town. We all want safe streets. Adding streets into the current plan is uncomplicated, yet yields big results. Residents have come second throughout this process. Please put us and our safety first by adding streets. By doing so, you'll make for a much more financially successful project as well. Well, I'm here to talk about putting residents first. I'd also like to talk about the snow dumping at Essex and Erie Park. In Maplewood, they have a law that says it shall be unlawful for any person to cause, authorize, or procure any brine, water, oil, liquid dye, or other substance deleterious to tree life to lie, leak, pour, flow, or drift on or into the soil, and it goes on and on. Without the passage of, I don't actually think it's in the ordinance, I'm not sure exactly what it is tonight. This park will not be usable by residents anytime soon. It is not a park, it is now a dump. There should be caution signs erected for people, children, and dogs. Sadly, we can't prevent wild animals, birds, and insects from traversing these chemical heaps. A mistake was made, a big one. It has sat there without remediation for far too long. Please vote yes, and please pass the immigrant health act.
Thank you very much. At this point, Billy H.O.U. Someone, I'm sorry, I can't read the writing on the last name.
Billy's okay.
What's the last name, please?
Pushia.
Okay, thank you.
I am a child of immigrants. My parents are both Palestinian. I was born and grew up here in New Jersey, in the diaspora, in the roadway, as we call it in Arabic. I am first generation Arab American, first generation Palestinian American, at least technically. Although when I introduce myself to others, the American aspect of my so-called identity is never revealed or uttered. I am so proud to call myself Arab and Palestinian. I wouldn't change it for the world. I can't say the same for my American identity. I find it ironic to speak about Arab heritage and inclusion when Montclair has given me my fair share of hatred, intimidation, and racism simply for the way that I look, as though I am other to this town and deserve to be a target and to be harassed for my Arab, Palestinian, and Muslim identities. Montclair is not the safe, welcoming, and inclusive community many of you claim it to be. This past Friday on April 3rd, while my friends and I were protesting on Bloomfield Ave against the genocide of Palestine and the bombings in Iran, a man from across the street was saying very vile, Arabophobic, and Islamophobic rhetoric towards me. He mostly fixated on me, stuck his tongue out at me numerous times, telling me my country, Palestine, and Palestinians, my very own people, should burn, and told me to go back home. A classic racist statement I've heard many times before. But again, I was born in Jersey, but I'm not supposed to be here, right? After an hour, the man illegally crossed into oncoming traffic, almost getting hit by a car, to charge towards me aggressively and to continue hurling very vile language towards me. He got so close to the point that I had to tell him numerous times to back away and get away from me, to the point where my friends and my comrades had to stand in between me and him so that he wouldn't touch me. Now you're probably wondering why we didn't contact the police. Well, they don't view my community and my community's safety the way they view others. This past fall, at 9:20 p.m., as I was walking to my car in the pitch dark, a a male, followed me, my mom, and my friend, short women, 5'3" or shorter, to my car. Again, he didn't announce himself. He just walked behind us for numerous blocks, reached us until he could look at us, and then walked into the direction he came from. He was not patrolling to ensure our safety, but to intimidate us, make us unsafe and uneasy. Montclair, you must do better. I can give so many instances of being harassed and intimidated from this town, but I'm not here to justify my experiences. There is simply no excuse for this. Today, I stand before you all to speak out against these injustices because I feel like not doing so would be an injustice of itself. I speak for me, my Arab community, my Palestinian community, and for all minority and marginalized communities who are treated less than simply for the way that we look and the languages that we speak.
Carlin, you're Settler,
Free
please.
Palestine, free Sudan, and
Carlin,
and end all
you're
genocide.
in Jacob Lewin. Jacob Lewin. Lorenz Sunson. Stephen Mako, no, Macawli. Or John Zabaka.
We were outside. We were notified.
Okay.
Yeah.
John Zabeka,
Stephen is here.
Jacob's also here.
John Zabeka.
Jacob Lewin is right here, and I'm Lorenzo.
Harlan is where you
Who is
started.
John Zabeka? John, I'll go back. Huh? Right, I'll go back. John,
Hi, everybody. Good evening. I'm a snow and ice management
please give
professional.
us your name.
John Zelenka.
Thank you.
Yeah, I own Z-Tree Experts and I also own a professional snow and ice management company. So when I was working in Montclair, I did see snow piles. I took pictures and the big machines that moved it. But as doing both worlds, I knew it's an issue. So I know everybody explained it, but the snow does need to be removed, but with lighter equipment, so it doesn't, cause more ground impact on the root zones. And then it does need, soil, to vertical line trenching of the roots to take away from the root compaction. And then you need to mulch around the drip line of the trees. And then either deep water, not fertilization, but to kind of take away the salt. So hopefully that's just a little insight I just wanted to add to, what you guys already know, but hopefully a couple things could, help or look in that right direction. So that's it.
Thank you. Jacob Lewin. Is there Jacob Lewin? Lorenz Samson, Sansone.
Hello, council. My name is Lorenzo Sansone. I live at 10 Crestmont Road. And I'm here to speak on multiple things today, but first, I would like to thank the council for their understanding about the wildlife here in Montclair. Originally being born in San Diego, California, but one of the most amazing things is the fact that we have wildlife here, and it's extremely important in my eyes and the eyes of many Montclair residents to continue to protect that. So thank you for your workingness towards solving that issue of figuring out the deer and especially all wildlife. Second off, I would like to address my concerns relating to the park that has, we've all seen, been completely destroyed because of the mismanagement. And this seems to be a common factor within the council and multiple areas of Montclair as a whole. We have to recognize that the management of Montclair is going to be the thing that continues to make us a very thriving town. And Montclair citizens and residents continue to feel that the management of Montclair is in disarray. So please take that into consideration. Next, when it comes to immigration here in Montclair, I think it's extremely important for all of us to recognize that we are all once immigrants. And to not recognize that fact is completely deplorable to me. So, not only is my father an immigrant, but my great-grandfather is an immigrant. Immigrants have made not only Montclair, but the United States as a whole. So being a sanctuary city, or in this case, a suburb in one way or another, we should recognize the importance of allowing that, okay? We have seen the disgusting things that ICE has done in recent time, and I'm not willing, and my generation is not willing to stand for these deplorable things that continue to happen. Especially since we've just heard from a very interesting Palestinian woman that she is not safe. And as a Jewish man, this has been a very conflicting time of my life with both my morals about Israel and my idea of Judaism. So please understand that not only as me as a Jew are conflicted about these things, but we have to recognize immigrants are what makes America extremely great. And I'm completely disgusted by the fact that she had that experience here in Montclair. We live in a very hopefully a friendly town is like what we would like to think that, but not being inviting and not being a sanctuary city is really going to let those experiences happen more often than not. So please understand that these are things that we are struggling to deal with every day as Montclair residents, and we would really like to see you continue to do better as you've promised. So please keep that promise to Montclair residents, and thank you very much and have a great rest of your night.
Thank you. Did we hear from Carlin? Okay, Jacob Lewin and Stephen Macaulay.
Okay, yes.
And give them your correct name.
I'm Mayor and Council. I'm Stephen Macaulay.
William, sorry.
No, you're all good. You're all good. I'm a Verona resident. I work in Newark, and every Friday on my commute down Bloomfield Ave home, I participate in a protest on the corner of Bloomfield Ave and Church Street. It's a protest that began over 20 years ago against wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, and continues to this day against the genocide in Palestine and interventions in Venezuela and war in Iran. This council made proclamations today about Arab Heritage Month, and I want to make sure that those proclamations are not vain or performative, and are instead cognizant of the continued harassment that Arab, Palestinian, and Muslim community members continue to face to this day. As my friend Philly mentioned, this past Friday, a man launched incendiary and aggressive remarks about Palestinians and Muslims, saying that Palestinians should die and burn, and telling Muslim women to shut their mouths because they're women. I think we can all agree that these kinds of remarks and aggression towards our community members are unacceptable. And I implore this council to recognize that and do everything that it can to protect our community members. I also want to recognize the many comments made today regarding the Immigrant Trust Act, because I think we should all recognize at this time that ICE are nothing but white supremacist Gestapo thugs, and they don't belong anywhere in New Jersey, let alone Montclair. So thank you for your time.
Jacob Lewin? Okay, is there anyone here that I did not call, that I don't see their name?
Yeah.
There must be another page with John Osborne on there somewhere. I don't see a verb.
Okay, John Osborne, come forward, please. And no, I don't have that on here, but here, please sign the paper.
Page from where we were all waiting over there.
Okay.
I've got a few copies of the
Yeah,
drawings.
would you please sign
Sure.
this? Anyone else, please, that I
It was
didn't call?
four other
Would you
people.
come sign?
It was four other people on the list also.
I didn't call your name, I don't know.
You handed me the clipboard when I signed it.
Okay, John Osborne is the last guest that I have on here.
Save the best for last there.
Okay, let's go. Your 3
So,
minutes is on.
I'm glad that I live in Montclair. I've been here since I was 7 years old. I came here from I had a very easy, relatively easy immigrant experience because I came from England. I was British. Montclair in the 60s was very accepting of British people. So still got bullied, still lost the accent as quickly as possible. My brother and I stopped wearing sandals with shoes until they became back in style. But Montclair's a lovely town. I've been here since I was 7. So I thank you for your service. But Montclair can do better. I think we have to pass the Immigrant Trust Act. People have to feel safe. That's very important. The other thing that needs to be safe is our environment. I live on Essex Avenue. My kids sledded on that hill when they were little, all grown, out of state now. That's a park. It's not a dump. When the baseball field was put in the middle of the night, the drawings were never reviewed by the planning board, as we know. But they did have one good thing in them. They had a detail that showed that you should protect the trees, existing trees, to the tree line with a net, with a fence. And if you have ever seen work being done in New York City in parks when they put actual wooden barricades around. If you follow this detail that was on the drawings,
and you went to the drip line of every one of those trees, you wouldn't have been able to put one bucket of snow into that park. So I suggest that the shade tree and the Department of Public Works and whoever the midnight contractors were, all retrained. And I encourage you to pass a law that doesn't allow for dumping of material into our parks, your parks. Thank you.
So I've been calling, is it Carlin Una Settler? Is that you? Is there someone here named Karlenunisetla? I just can't read the writing. Who's your name, please? No, no. Is this you? Somebody's at 25 Madison Avenue? Oh, okay. It looks like Una Settler Carlin. So,
Okay, it is
yeah.
Caitlin Kinsella.
Okay, thank you.
I have no other.
Look at this, he's telling me, does that look like him?
Do I have my time?
Go on.
Well, I'm finally up here. I'd just like to start off by saying I go to meetings. I do my part. I get told I participated in the walkout with my fellow students. There were comments berating us online about how we are just a bunch of crybabies who whine all day. We just wanted to skip class. And we don't have any energy or anything else. We just want to do performative activism. That's just not true. I go to meetings. You see me at meetings. You see me at meetings. You all see me at meetings. I come here and I learn. I engage in hyper local politics. I do my part. Please do yours. Pass the Montclair Trust Act. And also, additionally, there's an ordinance tonight about promoting non-lethal methods. Just basically not killing native wildlife here in Montclair. Specifically, it was originally deer, meant for deer culling, but we've expanded it to native wildlife as per an amendment made by the council. We were nervous that deer being surveyed in Montclair was a telltale sign that something bad was going to happen. Because a lot of people were bringing up complaints about possible biodiversity concerns. The issue is that there is deer culling that occurs in Essex. It's not great when you have deer with arrows in their heads still running around. It's not great when you lure deer into bushes with food and shoot them with bolt-action rifles. It's a stain, it's a shameful practice, and I think that everyone in this room can agree with me that we shouldn't be fostering it here in my town that I'm proud to call home for the last 15, that I've been proud to call home for the last 15 years to be able to develop that. We shouldn't be fostering that here.
Thank you very much. Move on to pending ordinances on second reading. There are two for the evening. Since these are pending ordinances, that means that residents who are our guests this evening will have an opportunity, if you wish to be heard on these. I'm going to ask Councilor Toller, please, if you would read pending ordinance. I'm going to open the public hearing without objection. Is there anyone present who wishes to be heard in relation to the proposed ordinance, which Councilor Toller is going to read, pending ordinance 0-26-07? Yeah. Thank you. We're ready.
Okay, so.
Oh, she's gonna read it first and then, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah, you can stay up there, she's just gonna read it, and you can, yeah.
Sure. Pending ordinance O-26-07, Township of Montclair. Ordinance to amend chapter 82 animals of the code of the Township of Montclair, Essex County, New Jersey, to prohibit the use of lethal methods of native wildlife management within the Township of Montclair. So, second.
Okay, good evening, Mayor and council members. I'm Karen Sachs. I'm a Montclair resident who live here
101 Fort Avenue and president of the Friends of the Montclair Township Animal Shelter. This is the second time I'm speaking to you on this topic, and you have twice voted now unanimously in support of the non-lethal wildlife management ordinance. And tonight you will hopefully make this commitment final. I want to thank you very much for the leadership, compassion, and care you brought into this process. How you're choosing to solve problems matters just as much as the outcome. Lethal management is often framed as a practical and efficient answer to a complicated problem, but you have listened to residents, weighed the evidence, and chose a different approach. That choice, non-lethal wildlife management, doesn't mean ignoring problems. It means holding ourselves to a higher standard in how we respond to them. This has truly been a collective effort shaped by passionate residents and thoughtful deliberation by an engaged council. I look forward to your sending a final clear message tonight that we can address challenges without defaulting to violence, and that coexistence is not naive, it is necessary. Thank you again for continuing to make Montclair a more humane place to live for all who call it home.
Thank you very much. Is there anyone else from the public who wishes to be heard on this pending ordinance 026-07? Please come forward.
Hello, everybody. My name is Lynn Stockhammer. We're hearing a lot, and we really should be proud of our town and who we are, because everybody has been talking about the safety, protection, and betterment of our, as a stewards of our land, of our people, and of our animals, in this case, wildlife. Basically, I really wanted to pass this ordinance and beg you to, and thank everyone who authored the Montclair Immigrant Trust Act and who is supporting it, but also for passing this ordinance and working on all of it so hard for protecting wildlife in our community. And just as with your passage of the Immigrant Trust Act, everyone and every being deserves to feel safe from harm in Montclair. And this is the right thing to do for us as people who, without each other, I mean, we're going through in our own lifetimes, you know, whether we're 1 year old right now or 97, experience that is sui generis, as they call it, is beyond recognition for many of us, even from what we've read or have had parents who have gone through. So let's stick together, and thank you for passing things that I hope we will, that protects all of us and values all of us and loves all of us. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah.
I wanted to add to that and say thank you again, because in this world where chaos seems to be rampant, this small thing that we can do to protect the animals, the wildlife, to not use violence against them, that gives me a little bit of hope. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there another guest who wishes to be heard on pending ordinance 026-07?
Hi,
Good
Susanna.
evening.
Good evening. I think of Montclair as a yes and town, not a yes but town. We don't say we appreciate our wildlife, but they can be a nuisance. We say we appreciate our wildlife and can tolerate the nuisance and find ways to minimize it. We don't say we need to protect our green spaces, but we can't due to wildlife challenges. We say we need to protect our green spaces and develop strategies so wildlife can be a part of them with minimal damage. We don't say we stand for nonviolence, but sometimes it's okay. We say we stand for nonviolence, and that applies to every facet of our life here in Montclair. Montclair is a yes and town, and this ordinance reflects that. With lethal options off the table, it removes the but and allows us to fully commit to yes and, plus all the creative problem solving that this principle inspires. And I just want to say how meaningful it's been to see such a broad cross-section of Montclair residents come out in support of this. Young people, longtime residents, leaders from different backgrounds and faiths, environmental advocates, and fiscally minded neighbors alike. It shows how much this matters across our community. It was even more meaningful to witness your humane, forward-thinking leadership with unanimous support for this ordinance at first reading. Montclair is a yes and town, and tonight is a chance to help codify that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Is there another resident who wishes to be heard on pending ordinance 0-26-07? Please come now. Seeing none, I will, without objection, I'm going to close the public hearing portion. There's been a movement, Councilor Toller, for this. There was a second, Mayor Baskerville. Is there, council members who wish to be heard on this?
Yeah, I would like to say that, I appreciate everybody who comes out and supports this. We have 2 readings of these things so that we can, deliberate ourselves. I spent some time in the last week at our sole wildlife preserve in town. I know the deputy mayor was there. Has anybody else on the council been to our sole wildlife preserve recently?
Yes, absolutely, many times.
Was there any wildlife there? Did you talk to people who are in charge of stewarding at the preserve? Because I've talked to several people, and what they said was, we have a wildlife preserve, a single wildlife preserve in Montclair, and there's no wildlife left. There's only deer. And that means no other mammals, basically no birds, no insects, no nothing. And what we have done, now I understand, I empathize with the desire here, I totally do. But it is a choice and there are trade-offs. And the trade-off that we have now is that we are culling through our inaction or the path that we are on right now, we are culling all the other love. And it is a fact, and it is very troubling. So, I don't have a lot of energy around this, but I want to say that also a lot of the people who are very serious, who do the spade work here, who are out up to the, every weekend, are very troubled. And they're also afraid of speaking their mind. They don't want to be bullied. Multiple people, and you can roll your eyes, but it's the truth.
Yeah, I will.
People feel bullied and they don't want to speak their mind. They don't want to say what they know is true. And these are the people who do the work. They're people who are environmentalists who are out there all the time working for the state. I met people who work for South Mountain Reservation. Yes, it's the truth. So this is a very, very big trade-off. And what I will say is that I'm going to vote no for them. I'm going to vote no for the people who do the hard work and who know that this feel-good thing has negative unintended consequences. That's very, very serious. And I'm willing to take, you can shoot the bows at me, I don't care.
Madam Clerk, roll call, please. I'm sorry. Discussion. Okay. Can you set the clock for the council members? Are going to get 3 members also, please? Thanks. Huh?
Can't do it.
Can't do what? Give council members 3 minutes?
For discussion on.
Why?
Pending ordinance.
Yeah, on anything. Yeah, why? Can you show me that, please?
That's not on Robert's rules of orders, which is what we passed.
So they can go on for hours and hours and hours and we just have to sit here. I don't believe that that's accurate, but I'll respect what you call that this evening and then I'll look it up. Yes.
In Robert's rules of orders.
Yeah, okay, no, I please send that to me.
There's no limit.
I'd like to see that, please, if you would send that to me. Councilor Shin Anderson.
I am going to vote for this ordinance because of the changes. that were made. However, I would like to say that, I did speak with people who were for the wildlife preserve. And, I am still very adamant that we need to account. We need the data. Despite the revisions, and I appreciate my colleagues, making the revisions that I had asked for, as well as the action that should be wildlife. This, unfortunately, the declared public health emergency would not cover situations where other native wildlife would be, their survival would be threatened because of food source being taken away, and that does concern me. So, I am going to vote yes, but with the caveat that, as soon as I think we do look forward to that, it could indicate that there is a haunt to other than just wildlife. We need to know how to, how to deal with that. So, that is what I want.
Any other council person?
Yeah.
Go ahead, Council Cola.
Sure, so I just want to thank Council Harrison, Council Birmingham, some of the residents that we've been working with. Council Harrison did pretty much the heavy lifting on this. Experts are experts, data is data. I don't think there's one environmental expert better than the next expert. This is a well-written document. I plan to vote for it. We have to learn how to respect whomever brings information to the table. I'm not going to put a hierarchy on what environmental person or persons has more clout. This did go through the NBC. I asked them to review it for a glance. And we did the best that we could, and we believe that we came up with a pretty strong ordinance. So the ladies in the back, I'd like to thank them for their expertise and their opinions and helping us form and shape this. We just can't have any killing in our town.
I would just correct you.
Great,
The environmental
Councilor
commission is against it.
Birmingham,
The
Councilor
environmental commission
Birmingham,
did.
please.
Right, they want to kill.
Councilor Birmingham,
You actually didn't want to
excuse me,
provide that.
Councilor Birmingham, please.
Yes, she tried to prevent them from having.
I'd like to have the Councilor Birmingham, please.
That's not
But we're
true.
not gonna have back
That's
and
not true.
forth.
I sent it to him.
Thank you.
And you sent it to him. Is that not correct?
Councilor Birmingham,
Okay, so
please
don't go
move
there,
forward.
No, I mean, I just want to say, I think we should commit to to promoting the non-lethal methods and see, like, really commit, like coming here and out of the blue saying, I went to Bonzel last week. And somebody told me, and which I'm not denying, and I really respect the work, but we need to, if that's a problem, we should investigate it in a way that is scientific. And if it is, as you said, if that is our wildlife preserve, we should be looking to protect that wildlife preserve. This ordinance, is establishing that we are not going to use lethal methods in our town at this moment, and which, again, ordinances can change. I just want to be clear that there's not an attempt to change it, but it is, but we need to really commit to the non-lethal and do it in a serious way, because I don't think it's fair to deny that deer are not an issue at all. Like, nobody is saying that, but we have to commit to managing in a non-lethal way. And I think we should look, and if Bonzel Preserve, it should be our pilot, then let's do it. But I mean, we have had offers from organizations that may be able to help us in a work in a humane way, and I think we should do it in make a serious effort to do it.
Thank you. Any other council member? Okay, roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Anderson.
Yeah.
Councilor Birmingham.
Yes.
Councilor D'Amato.
No.
Councilor Harrison.
Yes.
Councilor Toller.
Yes.
Councilor Williams.
Yes.
And Mayor Baskerville.
Yes. Okay, now we're going to move on to the pending ordinance. Open the public hearing without objection. And I'm going to ask Councilor Birmingham, please, if you would read pending ordinance 0-26-10.
Okay, this is pending ordinance O-26-10. This is a calendar year 2026 ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank for N.J.S.A 48 4-45.1. And I so move.
Second. I'm going to open the public hearing. Is there anyone present who wishes to be heard in relation to the proposed ordinance 0-26-10? If so, please come forward. Seeing none, without objection, I'm going to move to close the ordinance, the pending ordinance 0-26-10. There's a movement, Council Birmingham. There's a second, Mayor Baskerville. Council members, is there someone that wishes to be heard on pending ordinance 0-26-10? Seeing none, Madam Clerk?
Deputy Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Counselor Birmingham.
Yes.
Counselor D'Amato.
Yes.
Counselor Harrison.
Yes.
Counselor Toller.
Yes.
Counselor Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Vasquez.
Yes. Okay, now we're going to move on to business ordinances. Counselor Williams, would you please do C?
Sure. Business ordinance, an ordinance establishing a new chapter 212 of the Code of Ordinances of the Township of Montclair entitled Montclair Immigrant Trust Act, sponsored by Deputy Mayor Susan Shen Anderson, Councilor Eileen Birmingham, and Councilor William Harrison. So moved.
Second? Discussion, council? This is new business and this is the first reading, so we don't have public, but I am going to ask council members if you have any discussion, please.
So I'll start.
Deputy Mayor Shen Anderson.
Yeah, thank you. So, first of all, I do want to say that I had asked for this title to be amended to Montclair Trust Act rather than Montclair Immigration Trust Act. And I think that's the version that the council members had. And, you know, that's actually that was a deliberate request because it is not good thing is to just apply without to thank all of the people who I'm very early on been able to witness, such as the mayor and Councilor Harrison and Councilor Birmingham. The reason why I have wanted this to be amended is because this is not just about, obviously, you know, we have a huge problem with the federal administration and ICE terrorizing communities all over the country, including New Jersey, and we want that to stop. But this isn't just about protecting immigrants. It's really about protecting all of us in Montclair, making us all citizens, because even those who are citizens, you know, they're not, and we're not citizens, you don't feel safe. Okay, this is about making all of us feel safe. And even though we as a community, we as a governing body are not going to be able to stop ICE officials and this government from trying to intimidate us and bully us and scare us. We're not going to be able to stop that because we already know how lawless they are. Papers talked about that. This is something we statement that we as a council can make.
Yes.
That this is our policy, that if you're on our property, in our parks, in the library, wherever, you are not going to be able to come there and try to detain people and get us to cooperate with you unless you have a judicial law. And that is well consistent with the state laws that the governor recently, but it applies to us and our property. That the state laws do not apply to our property. It's also saying that we are not going to just hand over information about our residents unless you have a judicial warrant. You know, this is something that I wanted to make sure there was is, you know, there's some documentation and administrative issue because me personally, I really didn't want this to just feel like a performative ordinance. Part of this ordinance is also, you know, that the requirement that anyone that this ordinance, township employee, volunteer, commission, advisory board, anyone who you know, is asked for information and is asked for these purposes, has to report those incidents to the conflict manager and attorney in some cases. That you know, the council can request periodic reports, you know, where we are. Yeah, so I mean, this is, we think that we live in a bubble, and as the young lady said, there are so many things to love about Montclair. It's a very welcoming town to many people. You know, I hear about it. I know that it's there. I've experienced it. There's a lot of other language that happens in this town, and harassment. So I wanted to support this ordinance in light of that and the people who don't feel like they can come forward. And also for our businesses that are really suffering. You know, I was recently in another county in New Jersey where they have a daily rate. And people are afraid to go to work. They're afraid to send their kids to school, they're afraid to drop off their kids to school. And so it's happening here.
Thank you. Are there any other council people here that need to say something? Otherwise, Madam Clerk, will you call the roll, please?
Yes. Council Birmingham,
Yes.
Council D'Amato,
Yes.
Council Harrison.
Yes.
Council Kohler,
Yes.
Council Williams.
Yes. Okay, we're gonna move on to. Mr. Kohler, will you please do new business ordinance D, an ordinance of the Township of Montclair, Essex County, for D. Letter D.
This is ordinance O-26-10, Township of Montclair. An ordinance of the Township of Montclair, County of Essex, New Jersey, rescinding ordinance O-7-43 and the Elm New and Mission Area Redevelopment Plan and amending the zoning map in section 347 zoning of the code of the Township of Montclair, New Jersey. I so move.
Second, discussion,
So I have a question that this be tabled.
Deputy Mayor.
I have a question that this be tabled, prior to reconvening, that about language of the ordinance, is actually different from what, the planning board had, recommended, and so, I don't believe that they've seen this.
Ms. Sally's here.
Hold on to, please, I know, thank you. Did you finish what you were saying? Okay, so because the language was different,
And the
then
planning board.
you had some concerns about
Yes,
that.
my understanding is that the language is different from what the planning board had done. My understanding was that one of the reasons as it's inconsistent with the current master. So I thought that perhaps we should table it until they have it down here.
Councilor Harrison.
But under the normal procedures of the municipal land use law, once a zoning ordinance is introduced, it would be referred to the planning board for their comments. So that would be doing the normal procedure of we introduce it, it goes to them, we get the recommendations, and then we do whatever on
Right.
second read.
Well, again, a lot of.
Okay, I'm sorry, Councilor Harrison, we're finished.
Yes.
Okay, Councilor D'Amato.
Yeah, I mean, the process to bring this to the agenda tonight is completely wrong because fundamentally, there was an EDC meeting, which one of the two members was not there because they're not three members. See, there are only two, because you've never been appointed to it, that changed it unilaterally. One person changing a recommendation from the planning board to radically change the zoning in a part of town a week before we have a re-examination of the master plan. So this was like a stealth middle of the night thing.
No, it wasn't.
To change it, and we should be having a discussion about zoning townwide. Going to have it because of the re-examination of the master plan. This would single-handedly dramatically change one of the most sort of core things, as one of the commenters said, that transit-oriented development is a keystone of progressive urban planning. And this would severely impact it. So I'm not saying that it won't end that way, that's fine. You know, to make a much lower height limit on buildings in a particular part, because we can do that in other places. But I would like for it to wait until after the process begins at the planning board, or at least to have the memo be corrected so that it doesn't say something that did that. The memo doesn't even say, and I'm not putting this on Planner Cali because I think this is, you know, juggling a lot of personalities here at this table, that it should reflect the work that the planning board has done. And the fact that the planning department actually recommended a new zone, CD, a new zone that would be, you know, a hybrid of the existing zones that would be four stories tall, and that wasn't even part of the package. And nobody has been given the benefit of the memos of that original work that the planning department did. probably, I don't think anybody at the table here, other than the mayor, myself, has watched the meeting that happened on February 9th, where this was discussed, and there were no objections made by that body to the recommendations of the planning department. The mayor watched the tape today. The mayor never at any point expressed any disagreement with the proposed zoning of that area. So, and instead it ends up as a completely different thing here, based, I don't know on what. So again, coming from the fact that EDC does not have 3 members. One member of the EDC says that they were not recommending it, then ipso facto, it is not correct what is being introduced. That is not true. And I just think we can put it off for a week.
I'm going to ask Planner Tally, please, if you would come forward and talk about any time sensitivities here, but I'm also going to just share the fact that there were quite a few things that we have done with 2 members of an economic development committee for months now, while I have been constantly, repeatedly trying to get on the economic development committee because there were 2 people, and for whatever reason, the meetings continued, and we've gotten so many things that have gone through with 2 individuals of an economic development committee. So I just don't even think that should be considered here. I would really like to hear Planner Tally, if you can.
I just want to speak before Ms. Tally does.
But I want to ask you about time sensitivity.
Oh, sure.
Then I'm going to ask you, are there any time sensitivities regarding this particular ordinance?
No, we're not under any timing requirements to get this ordinance in place.
Okay. Thank you. So Councilor Toller, I'm going to recognize you, and then Councilor Williams.
So when this was originally presented to us 2 meetings ago, I tabled it then because I had some questions and concerns. The person that I brought questions and concerns up to is probably the only person at this table with the most experience in municipal land use, and that was Councilor Harrison. We talked about what some of this language meant, and I'm glad I did table it because the density numbers had changed. This particular ordinance presentation for a very specific area of Bloomfield Avenue, not the entire Bloomfield Avenue. Bloomfield and only, if you will. The reason that I recommended that we step with Ms. Tally, who requested a meeting with Bill Harrison. She did not request a meeting with me. Okay, so Mr. Harrison invited me to the meeting. That's how that went. So there's that. With Lackawanna coming across the street, the density already on Bloomfield Avenue is very, very thin. It's going to be a lot there. We're looking at the Firestone Station across the street. Currently, our zoning ordinance allow Hartley Street to go up to 6 feet, and the planning board said their hands were tied. Then the planning board's hands were tied with other projects that didn't get approved. So this is protecting the character of the neighborhood, keeping the buildings at the heights that they should be at, 3 or 4 stories. I asked Planner Tally during that walk, we did a walk when we met in her office. What other options were? Okay, because with Lackawanna directly across the street, the 4th Ward is at an apex. Okay, you may not care and you may not care, but I care. Residents that I represent care. All right, we're very concerned about what's going to happen behind Bloomfield Avenue, Mission, New, Elm, Hartley, Fulton Street, if something is to change. And that's what this is about, protecting and preserving a very particular part of town that you don't live in, but I live in, and I hear from my constituents.
So what's the principle here? Is that a ward council?
No, it's not about a principle, sir. It's about doing what my constituents want me to do. Okay, as well as protecting the character of the neighborhood. 6 stories.
So I get to decide the zoning in the first ward. I like this.
That's great. You can do that, Councilor D'Amato, but stop interrupting me. Nobody interrupted you when you were speaking. No one. Right? So whatever you're trying to make this, it's not that.
Councilor Toller.
It's not that.
Can you just explain to us, for those of us that don't know?
Again, this is making it a C3.
Right,
So that is retail
like
on the bottom, like it is,
TV
and
also.
2 or 3 stories for apartments.
So is it, it's lowering
Just
the height
one story.
restriction?
One story.
Okay.
One
I just want the
story.
people that are on watching TV.
For a very particular corner,
Okay.
not the entire Bloomfield
Okay.
Avenue.
All right.
It's multiple blocks.
Anyone else?
It is not.
Councilor Williams?
I,
Councilor Williams?
yes. My only concern with looking at this is that if, and I only own one house or whatever the case may be, so. But if I own property in this area, and right now I have the ability to build up, such and such amount, 6 stories, the value of my property, not the assessed value, because I went through this with the tax assessor, not the assessed value, but the value of my property is going to be decreased by this down zoning.
Sometimes we have to save money or not have people make money off the backs of other people.
But if you own
But
land.
people don't. We're talking about families.
Wait,
I'm talking about
What was he gonna
I
finish? Let him finish what he was gonna say. Go ahead, Councilor Williams. Yes.
I was talking.
Go ahead, Councilor Williams.
Okay, you're right. I should not have interrupted you. My bad.
I appreciate you.
And I apologize for interrupting you.
Councilor Williams, please. Go ahead.
No, and in all seriousness, here, I'm just concerned here that whoever these folks are that own property, and we're actually, the town is a property owner in this district on New Street, right? So that potential property right there could be sold, right? Revenue could be generated to do whatever we need to do in town. But with this, it will decrease the value, not the assessed value, because it's a property owned by the town right now and it's not assessed any value. But if we chose to sell it at some point in the future, the sale of that property would generate less revenue.
So
under this
I'm sorry,
ordinance.
I thought that I heard Councilor Toller say it was just for the Elm.
It's
Street.
not.
So it's not, I'm sorry, so
Partly went
Street
to new.
So this will
Fulton,
include
right.
that, right?
And perhaps, yeah, somebody doesn't make as much money or the town doesn't make as much money if we sold a piece of land on New Street. We've been on New Street, it's tight, the area's changed. The residents are tired. They just don't want any more development in that area. What's wrong with that? Why can't that be? Our diversity has declined from 2000 for African Americans being 39%. 2023 down to 19%, and it's primarily because of development in Ward 4. And you're gonna sit here and tell me that somebody can't make some money off of what and for what reason? If we continue at this pace, we can take the word diversity off of our township website because projects and redevelopment things in Ward 4 is actually killing diversity. Now, I know you believe in income diversity and not color diversity because you said that at the last meeting.
Okay, I'm gonna,
But that's a very real thing.
I'm gonna move on and let,
Just
all
one thing.
right,
No,
I don't even understand why
I'm
this is
gonna,
turning
No, no,
into a
then I'm gonna
discussion.
recognize Planner Tally and then
Hold on 1 second.
Councilor Harrison.
Okay, just one second. I'm sorry.
Really, a quick
I don't
second.
wanna get personal and I don't like.
Right,
the-
so that's
the
why
back to
I
back.
don't wanna.
Right. I'm
Go
not,
ahead.
yeah,
Go ahead.
I'm me and I can only control myself like me. So that's what I'm gonna do. So you bring up a very good point, and I think that, maybe this isn't the proper forum for it, but income, you cannot align African Americans with one income band, right? Saying, hey, we need affordable housing because it's gonna be just for African Americans. African Americans can be billionaires. They can be all over the place, right? So I think that's income diversity that we're talking about here. When we're talking about we want affordable housing, I don't think we're just talking about one ethnicity. We're talking about people that are in a certain income level. That's what we're talking about here. If you're talking about the African American community, of course, that's the reason why I moved here, so I can live in a town, my kids can grow up in a town where there is ethnic diversity. But when you're talking about affordability, that's not necessarily, completely aligning with ethnic diversity.
Thanks.
So
Planner
I just wanted to
Tally?
point that out.
Planner Tally and then Councilor Harrison.
I just wanna emphasize that this is not affecting the properties on New Street. The proposed zoning is largely for the properties that front on Bloomfield Avenue between Elm Street and Maple Avenue. Previously, we were proposing a zone that permitted 4 stories and a density of 55 units per acre. The C3, right now, this proposal is to put it in the C3 zone, which permits 3 stories, and I believe the density is about 40 units per acre, so there's a reduction in density as well. It does not affect the township owned property on New Street, which is right now in an R2 zone. That will remain the same.
And there's no other open lot where anything could be purchased or built on Bloomfield Avenue in the area you just
Well,
mentioned.
no, there's the vacant property on the field.
Right, there's one spot
That one
that
large
Murphy's,
Yeah,
Murphy's,
okay.
and possibly Firestone. So those are two areas that we're talking
The
about.
others
keeping-
are they're very
Right,
small.
very small
There's the
areas.
car repair place.
Because
and
many of the
corner
buildings that
park
are already there are there.
Okay, Councilor Harrison has been waiting
Sure,
very
I'm sorry.
patiently.
Go ahead.
Councilor Harrison?
One, Director Talley made the point of the New Street property the township owns is R2 today, not being changed by this. This stemmed from the application on Bartley Street to build a building that was consistent with the redevelopment plan, but was totally out of character with the neighborhood. Planning board properly said we should revert to the R2 zoning along the side streets and just keep the properties running on Bloomfield Avenue and recommended that those be downsized. So either way, those are being downsized. Those buildings have never changed. I mean, the concerns I raised when this first came up were, one, it was allowing residential on the first floor, which only 2 buildings in the area have residential on the first floor, which is inconsistent with the zoning in most of the commercial districts. And I did not see any reason to bring in residential there, breaking up what is a persistent group of stores, but not doing overwhelmingly well. But some like Rockets have been there literally forever. And suddenly letting people go taller. When we met with Director Talley, she had the thought, Councilor Toller was concerned about the density in the area. The R2 zoning is very dense, given the lot sizes in the area. The R3, lowering the building height, which would be more compatible with the buildings that are literally a few feet away. Another concern, the zone line was not drawn well to exactly follow the lot line, but it made a lot more sense to not have a 37-foot building backing up to a building that could be 35 feet versus a 47-foot building backing up to a building that in some instances would be like 5 feet away. And so that is why I made the recommendations when this first came up. I will not discuss, and I let you people fight as to how it should happen, why I'm not on the planning board, which is not a wise decision. But when zoning ordinances come up, I'm going to give you my opinion on them because I think that's my responsibility, because I've been doing land use law for 45 years.
Are you done?
I'm done.
Okay, council members?
Deputy. First of all, I want to thank Councilor Harrison for explaining that. And I just want to put it on the record that none of these concerns were raised at an agency meeting. The last thing that we talked about agency, and I agree with this, that the density, that the number of stories should be reduced. I agree with that. So this idea that certain people don't care about other areas.
I've never
they
heard
do
you
not-
say that.
I'm sorry.
I'm
Please,
sorry. Go ahead.
please, Councilor Toler.
I'm sorry.
Everybody was being polite. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
So I put it in the minutes.
Okay,
in
great.
the minutes.
Great.
But none of this was raised.
Okay.
And so my only reason for, requesting that this be vote be tabled was so that we could have, I want to better understand why the planning board made the recommendation that it did. And that was to reduce the height from the maximum height from 6 stories to 4 stories and create a new zone. Rather than, reverting back to the original. So I just wanted to.
And so now that, Your Honor was kind enough to take the time to explain that to you. how are you feeling about the recommendation?
Well, I still would like to understand, I would like for the planning board to discuss it, which I understand is going to be the process. And so I am going to be, I'm, if that happens, and I hope it does happen soon, I think I would feel better about, going forward. But I do want to put it on the record what actually happened and what my actual stance was. And I do want the planning board, I understand they put a lot of work and thought into the plan, the recommendation that it did. And I would like for them to be able to review it and bring their recommendations.
So I have a question then, right? And I've been on the planning board for a while, not just since this council, but previously. And my understanding was that the planning board makes recommendations to the council, and that the council may choose to accept those recommendations or that may not. So is that not correct? I'm just trying to find out. I don't get. When we say that they're making a recommendation, when it comes to us, we have an option, right? Is that correct or it's not correct? We have no option to discuss it as a group and then decide to change it?
Absolutely, but my objection here and why I think we should just wait a meeting is two things. Is that the planning board's work and recommendation and the planning department's earlier hard work and the memo of December 9th, which I regret today, was just not brought to us as part of the background. That's all. And so if we just, and then there's a master plan reexamination that is going to begin. I think that we need to, I'm not against the end result potentially here. Like, I think it needs to be weighed. I think we should probably be down zoning definitely in the C1 corridor as well, right? Because 6 stories is probably too high. If there's a single lot that really is calling out for it, they can get a variance. It's not the end of the world. My point is that we should do it as one and with the help of the planning board. The meeting is on next Monday, and then we can come back to it. And we can come back to it with just more background and insight. And the last really important thing, and again, not saying we don't do it, but the absolute core element of progressive urban design now is to upzone around transit nodes. And we have one central transit node in Montclair, and it is the Bay Street Station. It's the only 7-day-a-week link to New York City. So our peer communities, by which I mean Cambridge and Berkeley and whoever else, would look at us right now. They're deciding whether to upzone, and a lot of them are upzoning around the transit things. Now, I'm not saying we should necessarily upzone, but to downzone would be like a big shopper, and then to do it quickly without a lot of deliberation seems like a reach too far. So let's just put it out for a meeting. All right?
Yeah. Well, and I'd also just like to add that there's been many times when we have shown respect for the council person that does represent an area, because I heard some people talking about, okay, so now because you're in the 4th ward or whatever the conversation. Well, I don't think that's like a given, but I do think that we have historically, when somebody is in a ward and they come in and they say, well, the residents in my ward, so and so, we have given them an opportunity to do that, and we tried, at least it appeared to me when we were trying to work with each other, that we were giving respect to, the council person of an area to represent, especially, people, you all are spending a great deal of time with the residents in your area.
I agree.
And so I don't think that that's like something that is just far-fetched when councilor says that, that they wish to have less density. I can also speak as someone who was a 12-year representative of the 4th ward, and someone today, if you ask me about any density anywhere, and I respect what you said, I would definitely choose to downzone size, because I'm just not a big density person. I know that about myself. We had an opportunity to discuss some things that were more intricately involved in terms of people that own property and different things like that at that time. And so I realized that was a little different thing. But I don't have a problem with voting on this at this point in time, and I think it's great when the council realizes that we have opportunities to either go along with the planning board or say, no, they didn't get it right this time and make a decision of our own.
I just wanted to add that, this was put on by the planning and zoning, so the memo you're looking for, I don't know who will get that to you. And this particular location is not Bay Street train station, that's down by Pine Street, so that's down Bloomfield Avenue.
No, that's not true.
No, no, what I'm saying is this particular corner, I'm referring to, Bay Street is already built up. There's no place to put anything. There's actually no place to put anything on Bloomfield Avenue when you're talking about urban zone. There's a patch of grass that's owned by Mr. Murphy, and I don't know what could possibly go there.
The point is that the proposed C1, C3 zone stretches all the way down. In any case, look, we're gonna do the re-examination. I think we're in agreement that probably we all talk to the residents, and what we want is to deliberately look at zoning as a whole. We probably want it to fit what the middle opinion, the consensus opinion of the township is, which is probably to downzone a little bit. But like, let's do it
I'm
in a
sure
rational way.
Councilor Williams is probably over there telling me to call the vote. So was there a movement and second on this?
There was.
There was. Who was the movement?
Movement was Councilor Tolman.
And there was a motion on the table?
Okay. Yeah.
Sorry,
Go
I don't
ahead.
wanna-
Yeah, sure. No, I'm sorry.
Council Harrison, I know you said that you left it or you thought it was good to have, require commercial space in the bottom floor. And I'm wondering, and perhaps this can be part of the master plan conversation, but I'm wondering, given sort of how the nature of retail has changed, how the nature of and how housing is in such great need, if that's something that we should be reconsidering for some of these zones, because I know in my ward, especially where there's transition between residential and commercial space, that's requiring that bottom floor, which a commercial space is not always something that people desire. So I just wanted to.
I talked to the chair and the vice chair and another member of the planning board in the last 48 hours. And that is the recommendation, is that the border properties, buffer properties, would be an optional thing to make it all residential so that it smooths the transition.
But there's nothing in writing that
Right, but that would be part of the examination.
Yes, Councilor Harrison.
So I certainly think there are places, at 260 Park Street was the obvious example where requiring commercial on the first floor doesn't make sense. I don't think this stretch of Bloomfield Avenue that really applies to. I think the other part that we shouldn't lose sight of is the real driving force for the change in the zoning was to revert back to side streets to R2, and tomorrow someone could walk in with an application to build based on the redevelopment plan. It's a nice vacant lot next to the property on Hartley that was approved. It's basically same size. Come in, and if it's deemed complete before we pass an ordinance, they get to build a duplicate of the building that was approved on Hartley. I think that's highly undesirable. And I think the planning board recognized that when they approved the building on Hartley. And I don't want that part of this is far more important. To do it, and that still leaves the need, and I don't think, and I'm big on transit hubs, worked for Office of Smart Growth 3 years and pushed them. And it does not mean every square inch. I would not, Bay Street may be bigger. Upper Montclair is a very active train station. And I would not advocate high density development. I wouldn't say,
Right.
oh, let's zone North Mountain across the street from the train station. Let's zone that for
Right.
multifamily. I wouldn't say that. I don't think that's appropriate, even though it's easy walking distance to the train station, far closer to the train station than these properties on Lynkwell Avenue are to the base station. It's, yes, in a lot of places near train stations, there should be high density zoning, but not every single property. And keeping the current zoning, 6 stories, would be grossly destroying what is behind them on the side streets.
Well, Counselor, I'm glad that you said that, because I was sitting over here thinking the same thing. If we're talking about transit, why does it always seem like when it's in the 4th Ward, people want to talk about increasing the density in the 4th Ward transit village? Let's look at Bellevue Ave. Let's look at like what you just called out, North Mountain train station. There's no increased density there and no desire, and I know this from speaking to the residents, to have increased density there. Look at what we just did in the Waton Plaza area. None of those residents want to have increased density. They're all transit villages around there. And so I have a hard time understanding why we talk about the increased density around transit villages when we're in the 4th Ward. I don't see it even happening on the Walnut Street, to be quite honest with you. But if we're going to do transit village increased density, we ought to start at the Bellevue Avenue train station
Mayor,
and work our way up. Because but this isn't just happening here. This has been happening over the years.
we're not
And so
talking,
since
we're not
since
talking about increasing density.
Well, you mentioned transit villages, and
I
I'm
said
just going on,
We're
excuse me, I'm
talking
gonna
about
finish.
downtown.
Because I was complimenting your honor there for bringing up the fact that we don't want increased density around every transit village. And certainly we don't want it only in the 4th Ward if we're not gonna touch all of the other transit villages. And so I think we really ought to just consider what people want in their neighborhoods. The same thing they want in Upper Montclair is the same thing they want down the 4th Ward. Nobody wants, a lot of high density in their areas. So we ought to consider that.
Right, but the point here is that I'm not suggesting that we upzone. I'm saying in other places, in every other progressive community in America, that's the discussion, is how much you're gonna upzone. We're not, we're downzone, and I agree with
That's
that.
good.
And,
Okay, so
and,
can we
and
vote?
what?
Can we vote? No, because other people wanted to talk when we said vote, so I said, okay, then
You know
we'll
what,
just all
Mayor,
chat. Go ahead.
You agreed with 4 stories. You sat there for an hour and agreed with this.
I said there were other circumstances regarding the
No,
property.
these particular
ownership.
properties, 2 months ago.
It's not these particular properties. She's talking about along the Bloomfield Avenue corridor up away.
No, I'm saying you agreed with the rest of the planning board.
Correct.
So
And
now
I
you're-
said there
now
were
you're
other
reversing yourself.
considerations, the people that were there that owned the properties and explained a totally different, so they weren't empty, just lots waiting to be zoned. And to be quite honest with you, if it would not be a violation of our planning board regulations for me to not have voted for it, then I would have definitely downzoned it. Any opportunity I have, know that I'm going to try to do less density, less is more, plant some trees. Anyway, does anybody else want to talk? Because I would be happy to go back to roll call again.
May I just clarify with the Madam Clerk?
Certainly.
Is there a motion to table that we have to?
No, she passed a motion to pass this and there was a second, and so we're doing a roll call on
I
that.
understand. I'm just asking if there was a motion to table.
No, there was a motion to pass this and then there was a second, a motion to move this and there was a second.
I heard that. I had.
Okay, roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Councilor Burlington.
Yes.
Councilor Demoto,
No,
Councilor Harrison,
Yes.
Councilor Toller,
Yes.
Councilor Williams,
yes.
Mayor Baskerville.
Yes.
May I just clarify with Ms. Talley?
Yes, please.
Will this be?
Planner Tally,
Yes.
Can you
this be
please
able to
come
be
forward?
added to the planning board meeting for this coming Monday,
oh, we finished.
or next Monday, whatever that is?
Yes, I will add this to the agenda for Monday. So they'll have the opportunity to review the referral. And when it comes back for the public hearing here at the second reading, we will have to notify all of the property owners.
Just for the record, Planner Tally, when I met with you in the office with Councilor Harrison, you actually said that you've been trying to get this particular area down to this type of zoning, and past administrations did not really want to do that. Is that
The
correct?
master plan calls for reducing the height and down zoning all of the properties along Bloomfield Avenue.
Right.
We managed to do it for some of them, but not all of them, so
Okay.
it's.
To 4 stories.
Well, some are. four
Okay,
stories.
and so I'm getting, okay to move along, please, and I'd like to go to the consent agenda.
You didn't vote,
Please.
did you vote?
Yeah, I
Yes,
did.
you did.
Yeah, thank you, I appreciate you looking out this for me. So, we have consent agenda items, please, that need to be removed before we
Number
get
1
started.
and number 8.
Number 1, of course, the bills with the number 8. Anything else, please? Councilor D'Amato, Deputy Mayor, Your Honor.
Number 10,
Number 10,
number 11.
11, 10 and 11. Anyone else, please? We have 1, 8, 10, 11. Okay, can somebody want to move, items 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 quickly, and 9 before somebody wants to pull something else? I move them.
Okay.
Back to
Okay.
Wait,
No, you're too late.
Well, it was fixed.
Okay,
Okay, very good.
so there was a movement on 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 9, and there was a second.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh. Well, wait a second.
The new business is listed separately, I saw that too.
Okay, all right, thank
I
you.
did see that.
So there's a second.
Yes, ma'am.
Roll call, please.
Deputy Mayor Anderson, Council Birmingham,
Yes.
Council D'Amato,
Yes.
Council Harrison.
Yes.
Council Chola, I'm sorry, what are we on? This is the
2,
consent
3, 4,
agenda.
5, 6, 7, consent, except for what you said you wanted out.
yes.
Okay. Council Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Basket.
Yes, thank you. Okay, Councilor Toller, we're gonna begin with the bills list, please. Yes, please, and you had some concerns with other people that have bills.
Yeah, I don't have one concern, but whereas invoices against the Township of Montclair in favor of the following persons for the amount set opposite their respective names have been received, duly audited, and found correct. Now therefore it be resolved by the Council of the Township of Montclair and the County of Essex that said invoices be and are hereby ordered paid and that checks be drawn by the Finance Department to the order of such persons for the amount respectively and herein stated on the schedule attached hereto and made a part hereof. Total amount $14,118,980.10.
Okay, discussion on any, items, please.
Yeah, I,
Yes.
I'll move it, yes.
Thank you.
Now we're having a discussion. I'm sorry, I see Mr. Austin Ashley is here. I did not get a chance to check that second email that you sent me, sir. But if you'd like to talk about Shawver and the snow plowing and removal, I would like to table that one. I think we might have some other reasons why to table it, but I did email you about why was it in a dedicated trust line. I am pulling it to table it, but I just need clarification as why it's there. And I'm sorry, I know you emailed me, but I didn't have a chance to read that.
Yes, that is the line where those bills are paid from. That is the dedicated trust that pays for the supplemental snow plowing.
So this is supplemental. That's very different than just the invoice, right?
That is what the contract is for.
Okay, because the last time they weren't under a dedicated trust line. So
And I can't speak for how the bills list is prepared, or I can only tell you how we charge that through when we do the representation.
So I have a problem with this item. This is for work that was done February 22nd, February 23rd, which was 2 weeks after the first snowstorm and before the second snowstorm. I have whole issues with that, which I'll do later on when we get to item 10. But my concern is when we were at the property today, there was a fair amount of debris that clearly was not picked up off of the streets. Looked like stuff that would have been in the back of a dump truck that wasn't removed prior to that dump truck being used for picking up the snow and dumping it at Erie Park. And I would like a determination made if it was Schwager who did that, and if so, they should be responsible for removing the, this demolition debris, construction debris that clearly was not part of any snow removal.
Again, Madam Clerk, I just want to table that, for that, that check.
Can you please give me the purchase order number?
Sure, purchase, well. the
It's
vendor number-
8107 under dedicated.
Yeah,
trust.
that's the vendor,
That's the
it's
vendor.
two
Yeah, that's
six
the
zero one.
2601, yeah.
One person, please.
26011518.
Okay. Thank you.
And I'm just. Well, Manager Mark, am I able to talk to the CFO or Ms. Ramona tomorrow?
Sure.
Because this purchase order, I don't know what the grand total of that purchase order was for. We just paid off of it. $503,000. How much was it for altogether? I know you don't have the answer, but. I'm just curious, what was the original purchase order created for? Was it $1,800,000? The same number that we're seeing on bills.
Absolutely.
We're tabling this to the 21st, is that correct?
Yeah, so, well, the shorter one is a deeper discussion, a longer discussion. That's the only question I have on the bill list tonight.
Okay, so
Someone else has.
I
something else.
move to amend the bill list to delete that item and otherwise approve.
Second.
Okay. Deputy Mayor Anderson? Yes. Council Birmingham?
Yes.
Council D'Amato?
Yes.
Mr. Harrison?
Yes.
Council Toller?
Yes.
Council Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Baskerville?
Yes. Okay, moving right along.
Yeah, I requested this to be tabled, just to be not tabled, but to be pulled. I was trying to get in touch with the president of the South End Business District. It's the EV chargers for the South End Municipal Parking Lot. I'm just checking my phone to see if she's able to get back to me. Or I did have an email communication with Lisa Johnson. No, it's okay. I'm just saying because I'm having a meeting with these business owners on April 20th. And they want to talk about some other ideas for the South End, and I don't know where it's going to lead. I'm just asking if we can table this until our next meeting, which will be the 21st, because I'm meeting with them on the 20th in the evening. So I'm just tabling it for one meeting, so I can talk to the business owners on another subject and remind them that this is on the table for the 21st, and they have to give me the finance.
But I thought we already.
We did.
Yeah,
did.
so this
We did.
is just a change order, because.
Well, I don't know, is this a change order?
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, then I guess we just go ahead and approve it then, right? If it's going, it's going. I'll let them know.
So that's good. So we're just gonna go back and we're gonna put that in the consent agenda. So, but what was you just moved something, Your Honor, what was that?
So that you passed.
Okay, so now this is a change order.
Yeah, we can go ahead and vote on it. I'll let them know on the
This is
20th.
Madam Clerk.
Someone
This is
has to-
number
I move it.
Thank
I'll
you.
second it.
Okay, Madam Clerk.
Deputy Mayor Anderson? Council Birmingham? Yes. Council D'Amato?
Yes.
Council Harrison?
Yes.
Council Toller?
Yeah.
Council Williams?
Yes.
Mayor Baskerville?
Yes, thank you. Moving on to number 10, please. Resolution of the Council of Montclair directing immediate snow removal.
Okay, I handed out an ultimate resolution. I spent,
So you're not moving this one?
I'm moving the alternate resolution. that I
Okay, and
handed
there's a
out.
second here.
Yes, I'll second.
Okay, I want to give what will be a longer than I'd like explanation.
Oh, no, you're getting famous for that because we're not getting these things like in a timely fashion, so that we can even read it before the meeting. No, you gave me. Oh, okay.
It's a resolution.
Now, but, now, but I was the model.
So you have this one, Council Birmingham?
I'm with you.
Number
Yeah.
six.
Profit.
Number 6. One here. I thought we asked for it, where else?
Go ahead, Your Honor, you have the floor.
So my original thought based on what Amy Rowe recommended based on the conditions of the park a number of weeks ago, that it was feasible, given that to run a small vehicle over the top of the ice, because that's what's there, remove down to say 6 inches and get as much of it off as happened. Since that, what I'll call erratic melting has occurred, so there is bare ground between piles of ice that any light equipment would have to run over repeatedly in order to remove the ice piles that remain. One of the residents sent me what she thought was going to be a helpful picture of one of these small vehicles moving, but the narrator described as ice, but clearly was closer to snow than what's out there now, which is closer to concrete than it is to snow. And clearly it would have to run over bare ground multiple times in order to remove any significant amount of the ice that remains. And I just think that that would cause far more damage to the roots. It's undesirable to leave the snow there, but it will cause much more damage removing it than will occur by letting the remaining snow melt. The revised resolution is one, I talked to our town arborist, talked to Dr. Grabowski. I've been dealing with dealt with state foresters for many years and many meetings, and I don't always accept what they say totally at face value, but it is clear and based on my observations that there would be significant root damage trying to use even light vehicles going over the bare ground. I think the concern that Dr. Grabowski raised was a potential for if snow remained piled up against the trunks of trees, which did not appear to be the case at Erie Park, but may be the case at Essex, and that could damage the trunks. Normally, the sun will melt the snow around the trunks, just reflection of the snow, sun against the snow in the trunk. If that hadn't occurred, we thought that should be removed by hand, and that is the only, if that situation exists, that's the only thing the resolution is doing. With doing that, it is requiring the prompt removal of the garbage. I see people out there picking it up, and I drive by the next day and there's as much garbage as there was. I'm not saying they didn't pick it up, it's just as it's uncovered, and it is terribly unsightly. The rest of this is going to be a function of requiring testing. If based on the test results, there's high level of chlorides, that there'll be flushing. And the main part of this is that the trees be assessed and that we come up with a remediation plan based on the test results, and that most importantly, we come up with a policy so this never occurs again. This was unacceptable, and I emailed day one and sent repeated emails, and the snow kept getting higher, and putting that amount of snow in public parks is not acceptable, and we need to come up with a better policy long before next winter.
Madam Clerk, roll call.
No, I just, may I add one
Oh,
thing?
because Ron Holmes trying to encourage me just to, go on with this here.
No, there's no.
For item 10,
Yes. While you're looking
We're
for
not
that,
finished talking about it.
Oh,
I
okay.
just wanted to add that.
Well, the attorney just told me that she thinks it's very problematic.
Okay, attorney, please.
The new one?
Yeah.
I haven't seen this one. There's many issues with all this, what is written on here.
So what can we do legally to make it
There
right?
was a resolution that was already on the agenda. This particular one, I don't know if it's been published, but the wording on here is problematic.
Okay, can you give us
I
specific?
don't want to be specific
Yeah.
because I don't want to reveal what is contained in here or what my opinion is. But also, I was just informed by the clerk, there's no certification of funds attached to the resolution.
Right, well, that was a question
And
that I've
that's-
had going back and forth with your honor for a while.
So-
And it also if you wanna talk about process, it also didn't go through the finance committee, but I accepted this was an emergency. I accepted this was an emergency.
I've had multiple discussions with the manager. He had already authorized overtime to remove the debris. Reflecting that, he recommended we put something in the resolution to do that. The reality is it's been authorized, and this is just giving the council's blessings to what
Oh,
his
so the
action
manager
is.
verified funding with the chief financial officer? Did that happen? I'm just trying to find out, is that's what happened?
I spoke with the chief financial officer. I also spoke with Austin
Okay,
Ashley
okay.
about authorizing overtime.
Okay, and so they verified that we have the 20,000 funds coming from where?
From the snow trust?
From the snow trust, so that's that then. We have the money.
Do you, if I can ask the manager,
Yes.
because I know the dispute was over, let's not disturb the roots by driving on. But the rest of it is, the administration is on board with the remediation and testing and. In other words, like, we don't need to pass a resolution if the administration is on board with something. Why force something that's already?
Well, because this is gonna move forward, I think, and it's good to have, because then people that may come after us, we don't know.
Well,
Right,
The
yeah, but we
public
can work
is
on that.
massively concerned about what the
Yeah.
roads look like,
Right.
and their perception is we're sitting here
Yes,
doing
I'm
nothing.
sorry.
And
Council Birmingham.
Go ahead.
Council Toller.
All right, so first, I just wanted to say, Council Birmingham had, was with myself and Council Harrison. I don't know why her name didn't make it onto this agenda, so I'm just putting that on the record and for the people at home. The other thing is, this has to be a resolution of some sort. This council is getting yelled at for an act that we did not do. It's just that simple, and something has to be put in place today to ensure that we get the snow out. This is perfect. I
Yeah,
think this will work. Myself, Councilor Birmingham, Councilor Harrison, we met with Austin Ashley, the manager, forgot who else was on the Zoom. And then the three of us met later on. We all agreed that we have to have a deep dive into snow removal going on in this town. Plan of action. We need to figure out where our trucks are, the vendors are, when it snows, who's doing what area. There's a whole bunch of things that came out of a Zoom. So I'm just saying that this is the start of putting some guardrails in place for the future. Okay, because we really don't understand how we got here. We should not have gotten here with a ice ban in Ida Park. And Mr. Manager, were you able to get the report that I asked for from the Parks and Rec? Because we need to know which parks will be open and which ones will be.
I asked
Open
for
for
it,
what?
I don't have it. That was, I think, earlier.
Well,
today.
we were concerned about summer programs happening this summer, if the soil and things are not going to be ready. Because the other part of that is, we believe, I think Mountainside and Nishaway are having construction work done, so now our parks for people to use and summer programs are very, very limited, so that's why we were trying to. Well, Essex has a bunch of snow in it right now. So that's why we needed the report, so we can have a gander at what we're looking at park-wise for the summer.
Yes, Council Williams.
So I don't think we should vote on this, but if it's gonna come up for a vote, I'm gonna vote no. And the reason being here is, this was just put in front of us, and we're always told to be diligent and things of that nature. I was going to vote no for this in the beginning, not because of the spirit of it. I went by Essex and Erie, and it looks awful. And it probably wasn't the best place to put the snow and the trash there. I'm sure that the town was already working on removing the trash. But my original problem here was there was no cost in here, and there was no location where the snow was gonna be moved. I see in subsequent revisions, there is a cost associated with a person was 50, then it dropped down to 20. And things of that nature. And to be honest with you, I haven't really had an opportunity to read this. We just got this today. And I don't think that we're always looking at line items and stuff like that. This is $20,000 and I didn't even read it.
So the cost dropped.
I'd like
because-
to, just respond to you because I wholeheartedly agree with what you're saying. And when I first got the other 50,000, could be 5,000, could be 50,000, I was an instant no. First of all, we bypassed the finance committee, and if you're gonna spend $50,000 or even $5,000, there's a process. But then, you know, I understand this was an emergency, but still, the fact that we didn't know what we were talking about between 5,000 and 50,000, there's no way I can vote on that, because it's just a huge thing. Then I asked for a line item budget. I said, then, you know, do like Councilor Toller likes to do. I want line item, everything, and tell me if we're going to 50,000, tell me what we're spending the 50,000. I got nothing. So I was with you. I was gonna vote no. Tonight, I see this, and this pretty much is discussing, you know, stuff that we already read about, you know, the different studies and everything. So page 1 and page 2 pretty much were already there from before. That's not a change. And now the fact that I see, and I heard from our manager that he has discussed with the appropriate people that they're gonna get the $20,000 out of the storm fund, is that correct? The snow fund. Then I feel very comfortable that we verified that, yes, the process was totally flouted. We didn't go to finance, we didn't go to human services, because definitely plowing snow and that type of thing there would go under the Park and Recreation Human Services. But this was an emergency. So I personally feel comfortable now that we know where the money's coming from, and we're just saying what we're gonna do in the future and make sure we clean it up. It can't get any easier than that.
One, I said, our town council just said that, I mean, I don't know.
Well, that's what I was gonna ask.
Okay,
That our town council said that it's problematic, so
but
why?
she said she won't say why, so.
I know, but if the town council says that it's problematic, why will we just go and vote on it anyway?
We're gonna listen to our manager.
We need to get the snow up. It's killing the trees.
I mean, is it a situation, so
Manager.
Go ahead.
If the town attorney has a concern, perhaps we could adjourn into executive session to discuss the concerns.
Yes, I'd like to make a motion that we move into executive session for the purposes of, what do we call this purposes?
should we?
Advice.
Can I just ask,
What
should we
is it?
finish the rest of the meeting though, and like, and then, like, I don't
Okay.
know, could this be
Yeah.
the last thing? And
Yeah.
then-
You already started.
I did start.
Yes.
Yes, just let's start.
Does, Counselor Toller wanna withdraw her motion?
Okay.
No,
Like-
we're gonna do everything else.
Yeah, why don't we
No,
try
because
everything
you
out?
already started.
I'm happy to withdraw my motion so that we can hear from the public.
Okay, all right, so then now we are then, okay, we're on 11.
11.
Tree King, somebody wanted to pull Tree King, number 11, please. Council member, who wanted to talk about number
I do.
11?
I have the same concern I had last time of the tree trimming only the other company, not Tree King, it's listed. Or who are we hiring to do tree trimming?
It would just be a tree king. So I don't know, on the bid from the Morris County Co-op lists an alternate. I don't know if that, will they also need to be named in that, or if it's just okay to have. Morris
But
County
Tree
Co-op.
King isn't listed anyway in doing tree trimming on what we got from Morris.
Correct, it was awarded to the other. Would have to be amended. In order to award for tree trimming, but for removals and stump grindings, that would be tree.
Then the resolution needs to be amended,
Yeah.
not.
Yeah.
Not
You want to make an
reference tree trimming.
amendment?
So what about no games?
I'm sorry, Council Kamada, what happened?
So it,
I heard you.
I would recommend adding the other contract and the
two.
other vendor in order to utilize Morris County Co-op, the $250 per hour for tree trimming.
Okay, I suggest we just delete trimming for this.
That's
We'll
fine.
do another resolution for the alternate
Yeah.
for trimming. Okay. Might be easier.
So. Okay, I'm just gonna move to amend, there are two places. To amend the, so the title deletes the word trimming. And the first whereas deletes pruning and. Someone needs a second.
Councilor Toller, second.
Deputy Mayor Anderson. Council Birmingham.
Yeah.
Council D'Amato.
Yes.
Council Harrison.
Yes.
Council Toller.
Yes.
Council Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Basser.
Yes, thank you. Now, we are, no, there's some on the other page, we have new. What do we have on the list? We have new business resolutions. Someone take number 12. Resolution appointing Peter C. George to the position of Chief Financial Officer and Director of the Department of Finance. The Township Manager is bringing this, so I move this. Discussion?
Is this the gentleman that we interviewed the other day?
Yes. Madam Clerk, please.
Deputy Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Council Birmingham.
Yes.
Council D'Amato.
Yes.
Council Harrison.
Yes.
Council Kohler.
No.
Council Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Basser.
Yes, thank you. Number 13.
Resolution award of emergency contract to Mark Veniero Trucking for purchase and delivery of roadway salt.
Second. Discussion?
It was a revised resolution handed out, so
Okay, was that with this one?
yes.
Okay.
The revised resolution, there's a change in paragraph 1, for the amount not to exceed. Previously it said not to exceed 80,000, and then it's been changed to $77,337.50.
Thank you.
And again, this is a company that we're paying to go pick up salt that we're paying for. Is that correct?
Yes, the supplemental trucking, yes.
And we don't have any trucks in town that can go pick up our $51,000 worth of salt. We gotta pay this guy 77 to go get it.
I do not have the trucks capable of.
Roll call, Madam Clerk, please.
Deputy Mayor Anderson.
Yes, and I seconded.
Deputy Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Council Birmingham. Thank you. Council D'Amato.
Yes.
Council Harrison.
Yes.
Council Kohler.
Yes.
Council Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Basser.
Yes, thank you. Someone do number 14, please.
Can I read it?
I'm sorry, yes,
Official
certainly
Vice,
you can.
Vice Czar.
Council D'Amato.
Resolution authorizing notice of intention to issue one new theater exception, plenary retail consumption license in accordance with N.J.S.A. 33-1-19-8 by the historical method pursuant to N.J.S.A. 1-19-1 and 19.2. So
Second, discussion?
what is, can somebody explain?
What's the location?
This is to authorize us so we can do the license.
Right. Where did it come from?
Okay.
Did it come at the request of the nonprofit? Or just to fill it out? Like, what process is that?
It came from the request of, I'm sorry, I didn't do a memo of.
Yeah.
Phil, yes.
Oh, yeah, it was
Yeah.
on the
Memo.
I'll vote twice.
No memo.
I asked him the other day when I was in here.
Okay, Madam Clerk, please.
Deputy Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Council Birmingham. Absent. Council D'Amato.
Yes.
Council Harrison.
Yes.
Council Kohler.
Yeah.
Council Williams.
Yes.
Mayor Basser.
Yes, thank you. Number 15 is a resolution of the Township of Montclair authorizing a tax refund pursuant to tax court of New Jersey order and final judgment, block 3201, lot 4, and I so move.
Second.
Discussion, Madam Clerk?
Deputy Mayor Anderson.
Yes.
Council Birmingham. Absent. Council D'Amato.
Yes.
Council Harrison.
Yes.
Council Kohler.
Yes.
Okay, William,
Yes.
Mayor Beth.
Yes, thank you. All right, so then we're gonna come back to something, and then we're gonna come back and have the, huh?
Oh, no.
No,
No.
we're gonna go into the,
You wanna do side discussion?
yeah, he does, but what, no, we're gonna go into executive
Well,
first and then come back to talk about that.
People, discussion, but it's up to you.
We're not gonna vote on anything, the sidewalk thing, I just want to open the conversation. And there's not, public comment, we actually have some comments. Mr. Rebecca, they're very interesting, but
Okay, that'll be great. We'll have time to do that.
you want to go on the public?
I wanna go into executive session and then I wanna do this afterwards, so, if anybody wants to stay, it'd be great. I'd like to make a motion that we adjourn into the executive
Second.
session for the purposes of
Equal advice.
legal advice.
Who was the second?
I was.
I thought you were the movement.
Second.
Okay.
Look, I'm just right here. Okay.
I don't know where you're pointing at.
I'd like to make a motion that we exit the executive session, please, and go into a regular session of the meeting. I'd like to call on Councilor Harrison.
Not the people, my resolution.
Okay, I'd like to call on Councilor Birmingham.
Do I explain first or to just say?
Give it what you think.
You can make a motion and then explain why.
Okay. I would like to make a motion to table the resolution.
Second,
I would like to now have a short opportunity to explain why. We are tabling the resolution, or I am proposing for a vote to table the resolution based on advice of our municipal attorney. I think we all want to make clear that we understand this situation is troubling. I think I've heard the word heartbreaking, troubling. It is very distressing. And Mayor, I believe you know this term in medicine. We would call this a sentinel event.
absolutely.
And a sentinel event, and Councilor Peltler, I think you were describing this, a sentinel event is a serious, unexpected occurrence that signals a systemic problem that needs serious investigation and corrective action. I think we all agree that this is something that we never want to have happen again. We want to commit, I think, to the community, the protection of our green spaces in the future. This, and just by tabling this resolution, it does not delay the action that we have discussed with the manager, our staff, outside experts. It does not delay in any way the plan. And so we will come back at our next meeting with a resolution, a relevant resolution with policy relevant to this situation. But for this evening, I propose to table again with full recognition that we have a plan in place. We will be releasing more information to the public within the next days, very soon, including detailed information on the plan and the evidence behind that plan. So I'm going to stop talking now, and I motion to table, and I believe.
And I second that.
Mayor second. And I've just copy and paste everything Council Birmingham has said. I don't know if it's appropriate. If you can ask the manager to share anything with us at this point in time, if he'd like to. If not, then he would like to share.
We will call this discussion. So that if anyone, no, yeah, I'm just saying.
Okay.
We're having now discussion. There was a movement,
Yeah.
there was a second.
I agree with everything that was said. We will work with the Department of Community Services, Department of Sustainability to put together a plan that I think we can all be proud of. And I think everybody agrees this can never happen again, and we can and will do better, so.
Thank you very much. Madam Clerk?
Deputy Mayor Anderson,
Yes.
Counselor Birmingham,
Yes.
Counselor D'Amato.
Yes.
Counselor Harrison,
No.
Counselor Toller,
Yes.
Counselor Williams,
Yes.
Mayor Baskerville.
Yes. Thank you. Okay, and for the final thing on our agenda tonight is Council D'Amato has a discussion that's here on the proposed sidewalk and street paving dated amendment.
So, I don't know if everybody got to read through the amendments. This is not, has not been in the law department, so it did not go to the published agenda. And which was purposeful, just because we need to have initial discussions about it. And I would just say it's 11:20. If people do not feel like they want to have the discussion right now, but instead would just as we're all working and work hard on this topic, that if everybody would spend some time over the next few weeks digging in, maybe talking to their constituents, you know, reading this, looking at
Yeah.
some of the examples of other work that's being done. I would also share some feedback that I've gotten since from some people. We could have a couple of words about it now, or I just want to let you guys know that I'm fine if you wanted to not continue at 11:20. You were the co.
First of all, I'd just like to thank you for your hard work on this and let you know how much appreciated. I know when we first started this out a long time ago, you and I both were doing this, and then things shifted as they often do, and different people, I guess Councilor Harrison came in on the end now with you, and you created something. So I'd like to thank you and whoever else has worked this along the way. I'd also like to make a motion that we adjourn for the evening. And that we do, you know, come back and have a full discussion, put it up higher, and just people have an opportunity, because I haven't even seen all the pages that you are talking about there yet. But since you're fine with it, I would like to make a motion.
It's not a lot, it's a page and a half, but it's, we should be fresh when we're talking about it.
Yeah.
But that is, please, let's try to focus with the next.
And I sent you an email already on that, right? You did get my response to that. But I didn't see it.
It's 11:20.
Right.
I sent it that.
All we gotta do is get a second.
Okay, sorry.
Okay, Manager Clerk, please do the roll call.
Deputy Mayor Anderson, this is to adjourn.
Yeah.
Counselor Birmingham, Counselor D'Amato,
Yes.
Counselor Harrison,
Yes.
Counselor Toller,
Yes.
Counselor Williams, Mayor Baskerville.
Thank you. That's good. I mean, we made it through some hurdles. I can give you Brian, I'm heading home.